Mhm.
Yo,
That's a great question, actually.
all right. We got a few in here watching already. Welcome everybody to the tonight's stream, where we are going to be talking about Loki and possibly some Black Widow as well. Recaps. Welcome, Cameron from Comic Book Movie Reviews to the stream.
Hey, how's it going, everyone?
And we got also our beloved Captain Bay,
What's
who does the weekly stream for all Disney.
Should have
There
my,
you go.
should have my
Yeah,
helmet on.
our Loki representative. Our Loki
What's
representative. All right, cool. I don't think we've ever done this on a Monday night, so I hope it turns out okay.
It's a Monday. People are looking for something positive, right?
I hope so. So while we are talking about this, I'm going to also be doing the legendary side event that is the most boring side event ever made to man.
What's your go-to team that you've been using for it?
It should pop up here in a moment.
I
It's
guess
been
that's
double cat, Cosmic Ghost Rider, Nick Fury, Warlock.
So then you just finished it off with Cap, yeah.
I just keep fighting. I just fight everybody. I fight the first 9 fights with Cap, and I take Nick Fury against Hercules and bleed him out.
There you go.
I don't even throw a special. I don't throw a heavy. I just bleed him out with Fury. So there's
Do you
that.
get... Wait, I'm going to feel really dumb if this is true. Do you get bonus points for using Cap in all the other fights, too?
I thought all the fights. Yeah,
I thought it was just the boss fight.
I thought it was. I'm pretty sure it was all of them.
Oh, I'm gonna look really bad right
look.
now. if
Yeah,
that's
let me
the
look.
case.
Let me look, because if that's the case,
Win a fight in... Yep. All right. I should probably just delete my YouTube channel because I'm bad. I don't know. Well, I don't know if I'm going to be getting all the points needed then. I've literally been bringing him on the team every time and just finishing the boss with him.
just finishing the boss with him. Yeah, that's a little rough. That's a little rough.
Well, actually, no. I've been doing I use CGR on the boss and get him down to below 10% and then just quit the fight. So then I started with Cap. So he has what is it, fisticuffs or whatever, or no, so that he can't gain his immortality buff. So
Right.
that I can just
Yeah.
kill him with Cap.
Yeah.
So
I thought about doing that too, but then
it
I
still
just
works,
like,
but
it works.
I could be getting a lot more if I can use the Cap for
using Cap for all the fights.
Who would have thought doing an event the right way would be beneficial?
So I still have like 12 of these. I didn't start till the other day.
Oh yeah, I've used all of mine. I've been using them daily. I did save them up for a while there, and I had like a bunch, but now I'm all caught up. Well, I feel pretty stupid.
Don't feel stupid.
What else is new though? So, yeah, it's an average Monday for me.
Yeah, just just take it is what it is. Real quick, let's see. Okay, respond to that. And all right, so let's get into it. Let's start with Loki, because that's the big Disney Plus show, right? That's the one that everybody was really excited about. We can start with the first episode, Glorious Purpose.
Pull that up.
Cameron, if you would like to kick us off, please do.
Glorious Purpose. Picture this. 2012, New York City, right after the Battle of New York. The Avengers have just completed their mission in stopping Loki from taking over the world with his minions. And as he is being escorted, he is in the lobby of Stark Enterprises building, and a second group of Avengers trying to get their hands on some Infinity Stones mess things up, and Loki gets his hands on the Tesseract and straight up poofs out of there, causing a Nexus event. As he is projected himself into the Gobi Desert, some members of the Minutemen from the TVA take him into custody, and thus starts the first episode of Loki. How's that for an introduction?
That's a great introduction. That's you pretty much summed up Infinity Wars halfway through. Or in-game halfway through.
Essentially. But this is our first introduction into the TVA in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He learns that there is this whole entity that tries to keep the timeline, time and space, neat and clean and tidy into what is called a sacred timeline. He has to go through a few different things in order to be processed. Like he has to sign a paper that has a list of everything that he's ever said. He has to go through essentially a soul detector that will make sure that he does indeed have a soul and he's not like an android or a robot.
That part was great.
He's like,
I don't know I'm a robot.
What if I didn't know I was a robot?
Exactly. He has his clothes taken from him, which he took great offense to because that was Asgardian leather. And then he is presented in front of Judge Renslayer, who is a very important character in this series. Also, whenever the news that this Loki had been captured, news gets back to Agent Mobius, who at the time, if I recall correctly, was in the 14 or 1500s in France.
Yes.
And he found it very interesting enough to kind of cut that visit short, so to speak, instead of being extremely thorough. And he goes to speak with this Loki because he needs to get inside the head of this Loki because they have a much bigger target in mind, so claims he. But before they get into that, they do this great thing where they go into the backstory of Loki, like all of the things that he's done up to that point in the MCU, and will do. Like they talk about, how he kind of failed in his attempt to take over Asgard. how he failed in his attempt to take over Midgard. And then they talk about how when he, you know, whenever he gets into the future, what things haven't happened, his treachery causes his mother to be killed now. And this is the pronunciation goes from here to there. In classic Norse mythology, it's sometimes pronounced Freya, um, and then in more English versions, it's pronounced Frigga. But I like to go Frigga. Um, but his treachery causes her to get killed, and she was one of the few people. And not to say that there weren't many, but she was one of the few people that 100% accepted him for who he was and was not just accepting to him, but also decided to teach him some of the things that she learned because she was a straight up witch. That's one of the things that she was excellent at, and so she taught him some of the things. Whereas Thor was kind of like under Odin's wing, um, Loki was under Frigga's wing, and even still later on in the episode, which I'm kind of jumping the gun, but I'm doing it for a reason. He kind of sees the entire uh, timeline that he has in the universe. So he sees his redemption arc, and then he sees his death. Um, uh, this is, even though, like I said, I'm jumping ahead, is towards the end of the episode. It causes him to kind of come to a realization, um, which I do want to talk about later, but I want to backtrack and kind of get on the TVA. Because, as I said, this is the first introduction to the TVA.
Hey, what's going on, Aaron?
Um, and we find out just how massive of a scope that they have and how powerful uh, things are in this location. Um, there's a moment where Loki
powers can be used and all that.
exactly like the things that he would normally do, you know, excuse me, where he would either disappear or he would cause there to be multiples of himself, or he would produce daggers. All of these things that he would do, he can't do. And whenever he is escaping, there's a moment where he kind of escapes, which I really enjoyed that sequence. He comes along this character named Casey, who we did not see enough of, and
no, definitely,
and he happens upon a chest which has infinity stones in it.
Dude, that scene blew my mind. I was like, what?
They took everything we knew from the first series of Marvel.
The first, 10 years.
Yeah, first 10 years of Marvel.
And Casey's like, oh yeah, some of us use them as paperweights.
Paperweights.
And I'm thinking to myself, I can understand using 5 of these stones as paperweights, but the ether would probably be like a nice little lava lamp. It's more liquid than anything.
Right. Yeah.
I felt like the kid is like, actually, you can't use the ether as a paperweight because your desk would get all wet. You know, I was that guy. So we find out how powers were completely different in the TVA, and we also get introduced to a character which another character which I feel like we didn't get enough of, but I believe is more important than they are depicted, and that's Miss Minutes.
Yes, Miss Minutes. What's going on, Bill?
Before I continue on talking about the character Miss Minutes, I want to talk about the voice actress that played Miss Minutes. Miss Minutes was portrayed by Tara Strong. Tara Strong is a superstar in the voice acting community. She has been working, like, I believe her first job that she had was in Hello Kitty, but she's done all kinds of projects like My Little Pony. She was in Teen Titans Go. She's currently doing DC Superhero Girls in certain aspects. She was in Powerpuff Girls. Like, she's amazing. She was in Rugrats. Like, I could just probably throw a dart at a project, and Tara Strong had her hand in it.
Yep.
Sugar
But
and
she's
spice and everything nice.
she was Bubbles. She was hardcore.
Dude, that's a show I haven't watched in a long time.
But so Tara Strong officially now in the MCU. I hope she is not and she's not the first person who mainly just used their voice in the MCU. But I hope that they bring in more people of that caliber in it. I believe. Well, no, I'm not going to make that claim. I know that one of the other big names going back to Thor Ragnarok was Clancy Brown as the voice of Surtur, but that's another topic. We're talking about Loki here. But Miss Minutes is kind of like
Loki's in that movie, so
yeah, he is in the movie. So it's not completely off topic, but I want to get on a voice actor kick on for just a second. But she plays the role of Miss Minutes, who is kind of like this animated curator of sorts. She has all this information about what the TVA is, what they do, about the sacred timeline. And some of this information that she has is even outside of the knowledge of the Minutemen or even some of the higher ups of the TVA. We just don't get shown how much she knows until very much later on in the series.
Very much later.
So those are kind of, and I didn't even talk about some of the other characters. Like I have not talked about Hunter B-15, who is awesome.
Yes.
We'll
talk about her in episode 2 more.
Sure. And I haven't talked that much about Judge Renslayer. That one's going to be difficult for me to talk about because I don't know how I feel about the character yet. I understand that there were some twists and turns, but like whereas I was like, love B-15, wish I had more Casey, wish I had more Miss Minutes. I still am just like, how do I feel about Renslayer? Because she has a past with a certain character in the comics. But I just feel like that wasn't explored like in the least in this season. So that's why I say I don't know how I feel about it.
I feel like that's something they could be setting up for a season 2.
On the season 2, which has already been.
Which I'm assuming you're talking about the same character, I'm thinking.
What's going on, Xander?
Yes, we are talking about the same character. I'm trying to, talk about things, but also keep them somewhat spoiler free for those who are like, this does sound kind of interesting. Maybe I want to go check it out. I don't want to give them a complete play-by-play.
Oh, I'm gonna get spoilers.
I'll let you walk through the door, and
I'm gonna bust it open. I ain't walking.
Okay. You be Shaggy, I'll be Scooby Doo. Scooby Doo always follows Shaggy into the room. Okay. But yeah. That was kind of the gist of episode 1. It was definitely a great introduction into the TVA. It was a great introduction into characters like Mobius. It definitely did. Mobius was played by Owen Wilson.
Phenomenal. I loved it.
Wow.
And throughout the series, I do feel comfortable spoiling this. He never says wow.
He never said wow.
Like they never said wow. Like that's
there was some really good opportunities where they could have.
He never did it.
Like I feel like he probably when he signed up for it, for most things when he signs up for it now, it's kind of probably in his contract that like I don't want to say wow.
Well, it's funny because even though he doesn't say wow, there's a moment in episode 5 where he says how, and he says it just like he would say wow. And so I was like, they did that on purpose. They had to have. Like, somebody explained something to him, and he goes, how? And I'm like, yeah, I see you, Kevin. I see you, Feige.
We see, yeah. They definitely made it to where that wasn't there. So, Kat, we had Cameron do basically the full recap on episode 1. What were some of the moments that you thought from episode 1 that were like standout moments to you that really set up?
I liked his first, like when he first comes into the TVA. Just like I think they did a really good job of making it be so just like mysterious. Like us watching it, we have no idea what's going on. He doesn't have any idea what's going on. And then he sees like that dude get pruned and disappear, and then he's like,
Yeah,
"What? This is serious." Like,
point,
okay.
At that point, he was like, "Okay, I'm good." What's
like,
happening?
okay, I'll comply. I'll listen.
I'll comply. I got you.
He definitely goes into it like, "Oh, what is this? Second-rate witchcraft and whatever. You guys are. You're not scared of me." And then that happens. He's like, "Yep, I got my ticket. It's right here."
Yep. I got my ticket right here, right here.
And then I think it was episode 1 where there was. I don't know. I don't think it's been confirmed or anything, but it looks like there's a brief cameo of Agent Carter. And
not confirmed.
Don't know. Yeah, they haven't confirmed it, but I mean, when you watch it, and people slow down or pause it, like it looks just like Peggy. Like, I hope that is the case, and that is something that is confirmed and explained maybe somehow. I don't know how they would explain it. Maybe it'd be a season 2 thing, but I feel like that'd be too late at that point. I don't know. It might have just been a fun little Easter egg. But let's see. And yeah, the Infinity Stone realization thing that magic doesn't work here, and that includes like anyone who has powers that can't work at the TVA, and then to realize that even included the Infinity Stones. It was like, holy crap! And there's all of these Infinity Stones from different realities. Like, one, that seems like kind of dangerous. If one of these people, say Loki took some of those and then got a hold of the time twister thing and went back to regular world, like, oh, he's got an Infinity Gauntlet now. Feels like they should hold those somewhere a little bit more secure.
A little bit more secure.
What else since episode 1? Let's see. I think it's him like getting the recap of his whole life, of the whole time frame of the MCU was pretty cool. And
there was one thing that I glossed over, and it was definitely a red herring. Red being the key word, where Mobius and the agents are in the past in France.
Mephisto?
And total red herring. Because Mobius asked the little girl who came and did this, and the little girl points to the little mosaic, not mosaic, points to the glass stained window.
Stained window, yeah.
And it looks like a devil, and I'm just like, at this point, they're trolling us. Like,
they're trolling us.
The director did. Well, the thing is, you have to think about here, though, is this show was actually filmed and set to release before WandaVision. Yep. And the director came out and said that was literally just supposed to be a nod toward Loki, being as that the guy, the picture painting has the horns and everything, like Loki. So it wasn't supposed to portray the devil. It was supposed to be a symbolized version of Loki. And
but
they had no way of knowing all the Mephisto. But yeah, it happens to look just like one being Mephisto.
Yes.
I thought it was quite interesting, and the moment that happened, I was like, I wonder if they're gonna get back on that train, or if they're gonna be like, we learned our lesson.
Well, and just the fact that it happened in like the first episode too, it was like, wow, really? They're already throwing that at us?
So, let's see. Guido says, I just caught up on Iron Man. So Guido, boy, go watch the Disney Plus series show. He hasn't even watched WandaVision yet.
Oh, come on.
He just comes on here to troll me every so often. Xander says, I'll take Hal over WoW. How would you take Hal over WoW?
I mean, how?
Wow. Wow.
How? Wow.
How? Wow. You would take
What's your
How?
Well, just I would take Owen Wilson saying every single word that rhymes with wow. Just to hear how it all sounds. Like, hey, what's your favorite farm animal?
Oh, a cow.
Cow.
Imagine if it hadn't been an alligator Loki, if it was a cow Loki. Oh, look, Loki, it's a cow.
You don't even, it doesn't even have to rhyme with wow. It could just have that sound in it. It's like, oh, what do you get your wife for Valentine's Day? Flowers.
You need to get over here right now.
There's just so much potential.
Oh yeah.
There's so much potential.
So much.
Like, I'm sorry, Loki, your powers don't work.
Yeah.
Ka-chow.
Ka-chow.
No, not ka-chow.
Perfect.
So yeah,
It'd be
so
like a
episode one,
meta
we-
joke because it's another character he played.
Yes. Oh
Let's see,
man.
what
So
else?
yeah, episode one kind of threw me for a loop with the Infinity Stones.
Yeah.
Knowing that they had nothing, he was like, the TVA is the most formidable.
Is this the greatest power in the universe?
Yes, this is the. And then they kind of threw another Easter egg. Was that in episode one where they threw the other Easter egg at about like the nightmares are held in another part of another division?
Oh, the nightmare sequence, the nightmare division. Yeah, I think that was in episode 1. That they
I think
hinted at.
when they were heading to one part, Loki said, "I'll burn this place to the ground." And I think that they had mentioned the Nightmare Division, and Mobius says, "I'll actually help you with that."
Yeah. Why did you say that like he's the Joker? I'll actually help you with that. That's what I said.
I don't know which Joker I sounded like. Whenever I try to sound
Sound
like
like
a Joker, I go with a
Heath Ledger,
Mark
okay.
Hamill. I try to
That
go with a
sounded like
Mark
Heath.
Hamill.
That one sounded like a Heath Ledger to me.
Heath Ledger.
Really?
That's
I
what
didn't even
heard.
lick my lips or anything. It's like,
I don't know how I got these scars.
You know how I got these scars?
I'll burn this to the ground.
All right, so we have that. Then episode 2 was the variants.
Yeah, so he actually gets to go on a mission with them, and he tries to tell them, he's like, your reason you're not finding her is because you're not thinking like Loki. And they,
There you go.
I think
So
episode 2, that's when he discovers the whole like hiding in
Hiding in the disasters.
yeah.
Yeah, but so let's back it up. So season 2, episode 2 opens up with the female Loki or the other Loki. We didn't know it was a female Loki. I don't think at that point. Taking one of the agents, correct?
They're in a Renaissance fair.
Renaissance fair, where it was hiding out and essentially trying to capture one of the agents. She ends up touching, or we know it's a she. We know it's a she now, but then we didn't. It ends up touching one of the agents, take over that agent, and causing that agent to pretty much take out her team that was there. And then in the end, taking that agent and dragging them through a portal.
Yeah.
Which is where how that episode started. Captain Dave, if you want to go more into episode 2, after that point, which is kind of where you were.
From there, then it jumps to we get Loki back at the TVA. He's at a desk now, so we're like, okay, he's working with them essentially now. And we get the biggest tease of the show, in my opinion, is the Sea-Doo. We get the introduction of him looking at a magazine, and then Mobius saying he loves Sea-Doos and all that. Like, oh, he's got to be writing one by the end of the series. Spoilers, he doesn't, and everyone was angry that he didn't get to write a Sea-Doo. So yeah, that's
nobody was happy that he didn't get to ride off into the sunset of the Sea-Doo.
Of course, holding on the back, and they had some very cute love scene. Him and Mobius would have been great. Also, while he's looking over that, Miss Minutes makes an appearance. She is explaining to him, going through stuff like, hey, you need to be, you should be going through this. He's asking her, like, are you, like, alive? Are you recording? And she's like, I don't really know. Kind of both. So then it's like, okay, maybe there's more to this Miss Minutes character than we are thinking, and initially led to believe. Then, let's see, I'm really skimming through the episode right now. That's when they like I said, I don't know if my notes this time. I feel like so underprepared.
Yeah. This one I felt underprepared.
They find out that the whole team that they sent earlier is to the Renaissance Fair has been knocked out, and one of them was taken. So then they're like, we need to go get them, go figure out what happened. And then they are all in the debriefing room, or whatever. And they're flashing through all these different variants of Loki, and we get a bunch of different Easter eggs there of versions that we don't see, some that we do see later on in the season. So that's kind of cool to just see all of those. There's one where he's actually blue, like one of the frost giants that he actually is.
Yeah.
And so that's when he tells them, like, how did he word it? He says something like, you're not thinking like a Loki. I feel like, doesn't he say something like that? or and that's why he tells them like, did he needs to come on the mission with them. Let's see.
I forget what he told him at that point.
Yeah, I can't remember the exact wording.
He does end up going on the mission with him.
Yeah, he goes on the mission, and then they get to the Renaissance Fair.
He tells him it's a trap.
Yes, that's right. He's telling them like, hey, this is what she wants you to do. Like you're walking right into this, and then what happens? So it's hard to fast forward through all this. They go to reset. They reset the timeline.
They think it was a big waste of time to bring them.
Yeah.
I do remember that.
Then we get Mobius is talking to Agent Renslayer again in her office, and he sees the pen, which we kind of see a couple times come up. And she alludes to the fact that like he put all the rings on there, and he's like, I don't remember this. Like, what is this? And basically makes you wonder if his memories have been tampered with. Like, and he's a different variant, and it's been reset multiple times or something. But maybe she hasn't. I don't know. And I think she's just trying to. Well, she wasn't sure that he should be bringing Loki on the missions here, right?
Right.
Like, just she doesn't trust him. And Mobius is like, we got it. Wow, come on, we gotta trust him.
We just wanted him to say wow so bad. We're just gonna throw wow.
I know. I'm just gonna throw it in there. Wow. Really would have been nice if he said it, but he didn't. I think maybe this was the episode. No.
What's up? What were you gonna say?
I thought that was where they were. I'm just looking through. That's where they said the whole nightmare thing, but I don't think it was.
No, it was the end of episode 1 when he was taking them on a tour through the.
So then they go. He shows them the library, the big library, and where they can go through and find and look for clues. And that's when he discovers the whole. She's hiding in, like, catastrophic events or whatever it was. And that's where they can go back in time, go to these moments to find her, and that's when they go to, was it Pompeii?
Oh yeah, they go to Pompeii right out of Mount Vesuvius.
Yep.
Yeah, and Loki's trying to explain. He's like, look, this is destined to happen. No matter what we do here, nothing is going to change. It was kind of like a crazy concept, and he just proves it. He just goes over there and tells everything. I'm from the future, blah, blah, blah. And then everything happens exactly as it was going to anyways, because they all died, so nothing can change that. So that kind of changes their whole approach on how to find this Loki variant from them.
Yeah, he had convinced him that at that point she was hiding within events where it was disasters nearly happened, so it didn't matter if something changed on that part of the timeline because it was going to be wiped out anyway, so it didn't matter.
She's been hiding in apocalypses.
That's the word. Yes.
Apocalyptic events, because she was hiding in when he discovered it when he looked at Ragnarok, right?
I think so. Yeah.
So there was something about Ragnarok that made him realize that.
Yeah. So then they try to they're trying to figure out like where they can find her next.
And there was a clue in the first episode that led them to where she was. The clue being a stick of bubble gum.
Yes.
That was left. It was a anachronism of sorts, not necessarily to the series, but anachronism to in that timeline. That gum didn't exist, of course, in the 15th or 16th century. So they had to figure out at what point was it produced. And then had to find kablooey. Thank you, Xander. Correct. So they had to find out what apocalypse happened where this gum was produced, and that led them to the dirty South. Case closed. They went to Rocks. What was it? Rocksmart.
Rockcart. Yeah, and jumped forward in time. Which actually, I was thinking about it. I remember when this happened. This is the first time I think we've jumped forward in the MCU. Like, we've never seen the future.
Yeah, we've never jumped forward before.
They jumped forward to 2050, and that's when this apocalyptic event is happening, and it's Roxxcar, which is basically appears to be owned by Roxxon.
Roxxon.
Roxxon, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Which is from the comics and everything. So
in everywhere, like everybody uses Roxxon.
yeah, and we've
As
seen
the
actually.
evil.
Yeah, we've seen it in movies and stuff leading in the MCU already. So this is obviously a futuristic, basically version of Walmart, and people are there buying stuff, and there's a bunch of funny random things you could buy there. Um, and they eventually come across the Loki variant because that is where she is hiding. Well, at that point, they didn't know again that it was a she. And they come across a person that looks like a customer, but then turns out that was actually her taking over that person's mind, and then she transfers her conscious or something into
B-15.
B-15, and then she starts like fighting Loki and doing all this stuff, and it was just kind of a crazy scene that eventually led to B-15 realizing kind of what's going on because they get her memories back when she like opens her eyes.
Yeah, she remembers certain things that
but that wasn't
happened in her past lifetime.
I'm getting ahead like I always do because that was in a later episode. I just can't help myself. So yeah, then there's a big old chase of Loki trying to catch her.
Evil Walmart. Yes, evil Walmart.
Yeah.
If you can have something worse than evil, more evil than Walmart.
Yeah. So then she's basically explaining to him. I really should have rewatched all of this. Wasn't she basically saying like it's not all about you kind of thing?
Essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like this has nothing to do with you.
Yeah, you're not important. This isn't about you. Like, and then she opens up the portal and then leaves, and he follows her. Very brief summary.
Once she reveals who she is to him.
Yeah.
This introduced the concept of enchantment.
Yes.
Which led everybody to believe that it was not Lady Loki, but it was going to be the Enchantress. Even the name Sylvie
refers back
points.
To the Enchantress. Yeah.
Exactly.
They even actually did say, if you watch the recap, or not the behind the scenes kind of like making of the show Loki, they did say in that she is kind of a bit of both, of Enchantress and Lady Loki. So that was intentional, obviously. So
this was I will be honest with this 6-episode series. Episode 2 is actually my least favorite episode,
it was kind of there, and didn't really. It felt like it was just like that. There could have been more to that episode.
I think one of the reasons why I disliked it was that it included one of the things that I disliked more than anything else, and that is homework. They had to show Mobius and Loki doing homework to figure out where they were. Like, there was a homework montage. Like, this is why I watch TV, to escape this sort of thing.
I don't want to do homework. Who does?
I don't want to do homework. I don't want to watch other people do homework. That's why they have training montages. We don't have to see all of the hard work that characters do to get to be this amazing, specimen that they are. There's a montage.
Like Sam becomes like great with the shield in a matter of like 30 seconds, as opposed to 3 episodes.
Exactly.
Right. He works out a couple times, becomes buff, and learns how to throw the shield like as well as he should.
The only thing we were missing was Hearts on Fire. That's literally the only thing that we didn't have in that scene where Sam goes from... Chris Brown asked, so who liked Loki? His mother liked him. Mobius also liked him.
Yep.
But
I think he said... I think he means more like who actually liked the Loki series. More so than who actually liked the person.
Chris wasn't specific enough.
He was. He's generally pretty.
He was taking you literal. He was taking you too literal.
But yeah, this is an episode that does explain kind of like how the TVA couldn't find Sylvie, and it also introduced an element to Sylvie's powers that we hadn't seen in any other character before, which is the aspect of enchantment. Oh, apparently I did answer it right, according to Chris. And hi, Taz the Immortal. Hope you're doing well. Um, but it wasn't essentially. It wasn't that episode where, there wasn't a whole
Come
lot
on,
of
Taz.
action. There was a fight scene. I think there was one fight. No, there were two fight scenes. There was a fight scene at the very beginning and a fight scene at the very end. The fight scene at the beginning was between Sylvie and the Minutemen, which I do want to.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to say one thing about that. And then the fight at the end was between an enchanted good old boy and Loki, our Loki, Tom Hiddleston Loki. Um, I found that Loki not being able to take out, or not fare as well as I would think against this literal human didn't didn't strike me right. Um, Whereas in the beginning, where we have this, this other variant Loki taking out all of these Minutemen, there's a huge, uh, maybe it's a gap or a divide. Like I just felt like Tom's Loki should have done better against this one guy, even though he is under the power of somebody else. I felt like it was, he was thrown around like a rag doll. Like,
Yeah, he definitely was.
Yeah.
He definitely felt like the Loki that we had been watching prior to 2012.
The fight scene at the very beginning, and this is going slightly off topic. It was set to the song "I Need a Hero,"
Yes.
and this year that song has gotten more miles than any other song, because not only was it used in episode 2 of Loki at the very beginning, but it was also used in the trailer of Masters of the Universe Revelations, which just came out last Friday, and it was used in the trailer for Guardians of the Galaxy, which is a game that's coming out later on this year in October. And I was like, they are making some bank on this song. And all three,
1980 song.
yeah, all three, that one trailer, the Guardians trailer, and then this episode were released within 7 days of each other. And I was just like, good for you. I'm proud of you. I now they just need to find another song just to get that many miles. Yeah, you were hearing it everywhere because everybody was using it.
Wasn't that one also? Wasn't it in Shrek or Shrek 2?
Yeah, it was in Shrek 2.
Yeah.
So yeah,
It always reminds me of that movie too.
fairy godmother was like, I did this first.
Get on my level. Another thing that I did skip over, kind of a minor thing, I feel, kind of big, but the agent that she captured in the beginning of the episode, once they find her, she's like real like shook and reveals that she told Sylvie where, like, how to get to the TVA and all that kind of stuff. Like she broke her basically.
She's like, I told her everything.
Which I think we see in, I think it was the next episode, where it's like the flashback scene where it's her in the mind, which we'll get to in that episode.
Yeah, that was episode 3.
Yeah. So that was pretty, like, oh, okay, so she's trying to get to the TVA. That's this Loki's goal. We've got to find out.
So, yo, what's going on, Lefty? Taz, yeah, I seen your message. We're going to talk about that person a little bit later, here a little bit later on. So that was the end of episode 2. We moved into episode 3, which was Lamentus. And why was it called Lamentus? Why was the episode called Lamentus?
Because that was the next apocalyptic event.
The next apocalyptic event where they end up falling into. Yep. And Lamentus 1 was the planet that Loki accidentally sent them to. And Sylvie was not very happy about that.
Yeah.
He said, of all the apocalypses you could choose, you chose the worst one.
Yeah.
Where, like, nobody survives.
Yeah. That's always fun.
Yeah. And they had no way of leaving the planet as their temp pad.
They did.
They did, yeah. But
they did.
Something happens. Loki was kind of being Loki.
Pulling a Homelander, kind of going after himself, kind
of. But this is the episode that I feel like I remember least out of the other episodes. Like, I feel like I got a lot out of the other episodes, but this one, it was very much introspective. Like, there wasn't a whole lot going on outside of things. This generally takes place almost exclusively on Lamentus. This episode kind of explores more of Sylvie as a person, and it also builds the relationship. Take that word in whatever version that you will, between Loki and Sylvie. And there's this very large amount of contempt that Sylvie has for Loki, getting them on Lamentus, and Loki being the person where he's like, this is my TemPad, I'm not going to let you use it, you're just going to leave me here because you don't even like me. And so they have to figure out a way to get away from there without alerting the presence of the TVA, because Mobius and Renslayer are of the mind that Loki and Sylvie have now teamed up, and they're trying to break the TVA. They're going after what are they called again? The
Timekeepers.
Huh?
Timekeepers.
Oh yes, yeah. They're going to come after the Timekeepers. We have to stop them from accomplishing their goal. Meanwhile, B-15 is like, all fishy. But anyway, that's on further down. That's on further down. So they're on Lamentus, and they're trying to get out of this. They're trying to get on this train that will take them to a vehicle that supposedly can get them off of the planet, and that way they can kind of escape that way. However, there are going to be complications, as any situation that Loki puts his hands on. First complication, that they have to get on this train, which they don't have any tickets or anything. And I love the fact that Loki does his he uses a mirage where he's wearing the clothing of the officers there, and I'm like, that is the Loki that I know and love. They get on the train, and Sylvie takes a nap, and this is one of the most beautiful moments, in my opinion, is drunk Loki.
Drunk
Because
Loki awesome.
drunk Loki is great. He would tell you he's not.
It made me
drunk.
feel relatable.
He's full.
Sweet.
But he gets on there and he's full of merriment. This is a very Asgardian trait. And he's singing this song in Asgardian. Now, I don't believe that it was, we say it's Asgardian because that's where he grew up, but I believe this is an actual language. I don't remember which one it was.
I don't know.
But I actually looked up the words a while back, and I was like, this is a pretty song. And he's just kind of like celebrating life, and through all of the trials and things that he's had to go through, he's still here. It's really nice. And we could watch Sylvie watching him saying, wow, this is a fool, because we're supposed to be laying low and he's getting drunk. But she doesn't technically get up to stop him, because what he's doing is not ugly, it's just foolish. And I liked seeing that side of Loki. It was a softer side that we rarely get to see in previous movies. Like, a lot of times he's out to do things for his own benefit, but this time there was no benefit to it. It was just a celebration for him.
Yep. So he gets drunk, or full, as he puts it, loses his cloaking mechanism basically at that point, and somebody recognizes that he doesn't really belong there, and goes back and tells the train, the train guard
or whatever
they were, yeah, and brings them in. And
he also before that had the "love is a dagger" line. Something I can't remember exactly how he worded it.
Yeah, I don't remember
they
exactly
had the whole
what
conversation
he said,
about what is love.
Maybe don't hurt me. Don't hurt me.
Don't hurt me no more.
You cannot set these lines up and expect me not to throw in the 80s music reference.
I support it 100%.
I
encourage it.
Sorry.
I'm the same way with my friends, and just people will say things like in my streams occasionally too. People will say things like, there's someone in the community whose name is Mama Bear. Every time she joins my chat, I'm always like, Mama. Ooh.
There you go.
You have to sing it.
I'm sorry, Ghost Dog. You just got DMCA'd.
Yeah.
Looks like it. Looks like it.
We might as well just go full Bohemian Rhapsody now. As well just lose it.
Yep.
But anyway, yeah. So they kind of get into a scuffle, and they get ejected from the train. Loki gets ejected from the train.
Gets ejected. Yeah.
And then Sylvie is going.
Follows him because he's got the temp.
Exactly. Yeah, he totally got that Indiana Jones treatment. Guard is like, no ticket. So he gets thrown from the train, lands on the temp pad. Temp pad's broken. Now they're stuck. And now the only way to get out is to go for that transport.
Did we discuss? Did I miss it? Did we discuss how him and Sylvie went to try to get some power to charge it up, and the lady blew him out the door?
That did happen.
No.
And also,
I'd forgotten about that.
She tried to use her enchanting powers on him, and it didn't work. And he's like, "What are you doing?"
What are you doing?
And she's like, "Nothing." He's like, "It won't work on me."
I'm too strong-minded.
Yeah.
Like I said, this was the one I paid attention to the least. I'm sorry.
That part was hilarious, though.
I mean, that was funny. Yeah.
Diplomatic by dressing or cloaking himself as somebody she would recognize. And she hit him and said, he would never be that nice to me.
By the way, River has now joined the stream. So
I seen River.
I saw.
What's up, River?
Yeah, hi. Say hi, everybody. That's her way of
everybody. We gotta get a theme song for River when River joins your stream.
Probably should. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Probably just like, hey, fade me.
Jesus, where is my able to block and parry at?
River would always get super active right at 11 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
I'm starting the stream now. Let me get crazy.
Exactly.
Like, oh, you're about
to would be out loud. Be like,
he's like, you're about to not be paying attention to me. Oh, I think we need to change that.
She would try to get your streams banned by flashing her butthole right in the camera.
Oh yeah.
Yep. She's like, you're on the wrong site to be streaming this kind of cat action.
Oh yeah, I have another website for that kind of stuff. If you guys.
Whoa. And we have went way left.
And he was never invited back to a stream.
Look, I'm keeping it super clean. My daughter has my phone, and she's like interested in watching this, so I couldn't go full joke. I had to go half joke.
Don't go full joke.
You never go full joke.
You never go full joke. Oh.
This is terrible. Back to Loki, episode 3, Lamentus. Alright, so they get thrown from the train, the tip pad itself is destroyed.
Yeah.
So they look at other ways of trying to get off the planet.
Yes. That's when they are heading towards the
main city.
Yes. There's a space vehicle that all of the rich people are trying to board to leave this doomed planet.
So it technically never made it off in history, but Loki's like, well, it never had us.
What if it does?
So.
Yeah, what if it does make it? And this was a really cool scene too, because when they get there, they do it all in one shot. It's just not like jumping around from different angles, so they kind of just like follow them, which I always think is a cool way of filming. Gives you a better idea of like being in the moment, I feel like. And then obviously, as they are getting close to it, it go boom. And then they're like, well,
damn.
They're screwed.
That's not ideal.
It's literally like the last shot is like them witnessing the ship blow up, and then Sylvie's like, she doesn't say anything. She just walks off. But you can
walks out like, oh.
She's like, I need a drink. Like that's exactly what was going on in
her
head.
This is where he is. I need a drink.
I need a drink.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like she probably could have used the line. She's like, if you don't mind, I'd have that drink now.
I'll have that drink now.
Yeah. Yeah. So anything we missed that you guys could think of for episode 3?
I think that was pretty much the end of episode 3. So then we move to episode 4, but where there really wasn't a lot in episode 3, more so than them just running around trying to figure out how to get off of Lamentus, because obviously Lamentus was going to be destroyed. Yeah, I don't think there was much story build in that, but I think it rolled into episode 4, which kind of started building the story.
Episode
for
4.
The climax.
Episode 4 is when things started really taking off in the show for me. 4, 5.
Yeah, it's called the Nexus event.
Was crazy. Xander brought up a good point too. That was a big theory that again hasn't been confirmed. Is that in that scene when they're running around Lamentus trying to get to that ship before it takes off? There's a one point where there's a building falling on them, and he like uses some power that stops it and makes it go back up, which to my knowledge isn't a power we've seen Loki have before. And some people theorize that maybe he did steal one of those time stones and he used the time stone there.
Yeah, but then it was never used again at any other point.
Yeah,
so.
So I don't think he used the time stone. It's just some power. That's the thing too about this show. We did get to see more of Loki's powers that some we hadn't seen before, or just more showing like how advanced he is with his abilities and everything, which was cool. Yeah, on to episode 4 though. The next
episode 4 was great.
Yeah.
Episode 4 definitely had a few things going on. It had some reveals, and that's
we talked about episode 3. What we did skip at episode 3. Episode 3 was when Sylvie. Did we talk about this when Sylvie pointed out to Loki that the TVA are just all variants? They're people who had lives and.
We did not talk about that.
Was that in episode 3?
That was episode 3.
Yes, they talked a lot in episode 3. I remember thinking, at least this isn't homework.
Right.
But yes, that's when she revealed that everybody that's at the TVA, all of the Minutemen, all of the, even Renslayer herself, they are all variants, and they've all been stolen from their lives, and then the timelines where they've been stolen have been reset. Like they've all been kidnapped. Sylvie was just one of the ones who was able to escape from her kidnappers, and she's been hiding out ever since in different places. And this actually comes into question in episode 4 at one point, which I kind of want to just mention this, but not jump ahead and talk about it that much. At a point in episode 4, Sylvie asks Judge Renslayer, because Renslayer is the one who brought Sylvie in. She says, "What was my Nexus event?" And Renslayer smirks and says, "I don't remember," which is super cold.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's go back to the beginning. And the very beginning of this episode, if I remember correctly, was of Sylvie, like literally in Asgard, playing with her toys, like not bothering anybody. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, door portal opens. In comes some Minutemen. They say, Loki, you have been charged with crimes against the TVA, and bring her in and reset the timeline and literally kidnap a little girl.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what happened.
That's pretty much exactly what happened.
Pretty much what happened.
The episode picks up right where episode 3 left off. They're on the dying planet of Lamentus with no way off, no way out. They're going to die. So they're talking about how, at least we're not going to die alone. And they're holding hands and having a nice little moment. And over at the TVA, Mobius and was it B-15? I believe
it was B-15.
They're watching the monitor, and then all of a sudden, this Nexus event springs up a straight line north. Normally, it like branches and it creeps north in an angle. This one straights up 90 degrees straight up, and that's how the TVA were able to. That's how they found them. They're brought in to the TVA. Sylvie with quite a bit more Uh,
Yeah, because Loki complained about that.
like,
Why
yeah.
why don't I have as many people on me?
And Mobius is like, I thought we could trust you, Loki. I thought that you actually wanted to help. And then sends him into
And that's when Loki's trying to explain. He's like, "No, you don't understand. Everyone's a variant." He's like trying to tell him that as he's getting thrown in there.
Yeah, he says you Loki's. He basically points it off to the fact that he's just trying to figure out no more tricks, no more ways to try to get away.
Yeah. Then he gets thrown into one of the best cameos of the show. His nightmare sequence or whatever this
Hey, what's going on?
jail cell is of Lady Sif. Is that her name?
Yep,
Sif?
that's her name.
Yep.
Showing up and just kicking him in the nuts over and over again.
Over and over again. Over and over
It
again.
was so good. It's like, yes, I wanted her back. I never understood why she wasn't in. She wasn't in what? It was Ragnarok. She wasn't in, right?
She was not in Ragnarok.
Yeah,
but
or
glad
Endgame, I guess, for that matter.
I'm glad she wasn't in Ragnarok, in all honesty, because the Warriors 3 all died in Ragnarok.
They did all die,
and I wanted Lady Sif to not die. So
she didn't die. But the question, it just makes you wonder, like, where was she though? Did they ever explain in Ragnarok where she was?
Nope. They never talked about her.
Yeah, which was just kind of odd.
It's like
and I heard she is coming back for Love and Thunder, I believe, right?
Yep.
I think that's
maybe she'll have a big role and have something to do with Valkyrie.
Maybe
that would be. I mean, the thing is, and it's been said because Valkyrie was made ruler of Asgard at the end of Endgame, and it's been said that she is looking for her queen since she's king of Asgard. So maybe that's where Lady Sif comes into play.
Would make that a little relationship there.
Maybe
I could see that being a thing, and I wouldn't mind it one bit.
I mean, who would? That's Tessa Thompson. Mm.
Yeah. So then it goes to Mobius after that whole montage of him getting kicked over and over again. It goes to Mobius talking to Renslayer about something, I don't remember. But then B-15 goes to Mobius, and at this point, B-15 is really questioning like what's going on because her mind's all messed up from when Sylvie took over her mind and basically revealed to her her memories. 'Cause I think she's saying to Mobius like, I have memories that I don't remember, and blah, blah blah. And so that's when Mobius is like starting to wonder like, maybe Loki was actually telling the truth. I wonder.
So Nick says he understands that people are happy that Lady Sif is back, but I don't take pleasure in seeing the lead character repeatedly getting kicked between the legs, infinitely.
It wasn't. It wasn't infinitely.
It
was funny, but it wasn't infinitely.
He had potential to be.
True. I mean, look. Here's the thing, Nick, and you have to understand, Loki he's an MCU punching bag. I mean,
he's like the Winter Soldier of the MCU.
He's like a what?
You have to play MCOC to know.
Oh, okay.
in our Marvel Contest of Champions, there's a content in the game that's called Realm of Legends, and the first fight it's been in the game for a long time. When it first was added, it was like the hardest content out there.
Yeah.
Which now it's like super easy, and it's a way you can essentially farm potions pretty easily, and so everyone uses it to do that and test characters
test characters.
Yeah, because it's like a longer fight, so you can really play around with the character for a good amount. It's not just like bang, 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 fight's done. It's like, okay, I can actually kind of figure out this character a little bit, and so basically he's referred to as the punching bag.
The punching bag of the game.
Okay,
so
that's what Loki is to the MCU.
Yes.
It really is. I mean, even when he's not like, okay, so let me. I mean, if you look at what the Hulk did to him in the Avengers, like literally ragdolled.
Yep.
If you look at Thor Ragnarok, like Doctor Strange had him indefinitely falling for 30 minutes. Do you know?
I have been falling for 30 minutes.
That's a cruel punishment. Like, if you tell somebody you're gonna die, that's a threat. But if you let them know, I'm not gonna tell you when you're gonna die, though. Then it becomes like this whole waiting game. And so he's literally falling this whole time. After the first minute, uh, you feel like, I don't know. I'm making stuff
Yes,
up. I've never fallen.
I
Definitely.
can't say I've fallen for that
Okay.
long. But everyone's had that nightmare where you wake up when you were falling. You know, it's kind of like that. Just think of that.
Except it's for 30 minutes.
Except for 30 minutes, yeah.
For 30 minutes.
And he's definitely gotten the short end of the stick a lot more than other characters in the MCU. So whenever he's stuck in this time loop where Lady Sif is like punching him in the face and kneeing him in the balls, it's just like par for the course with this character. We don't want this to happen to the lead character, but this is just as they explained in episode. He's not necessarily the god of mischief per se, as like.
But the god of failure.
The god of failure, exactly. So this is just par for the course, essentially. But that I'll be honest, Nick, that is a good point that you bring up. I'm glad that you brought it up. Wait. Let's see. Hold on, man. You are talking about godlike beings or people with powers beating on Loki. The Star Spangled Man with a plan even said this guy packs a punch. These people, like the guards, are puny.
But he also doesn't have his powers while he's here. So
Damien Teo, what's going on, my man?
That's true. While he's in the TVA, he really is just a dude.
Yeah, he's just a guy in the TVA.
He's a guy.
There are no powers.
He's
a guy who moisturizes his hair, as seen through like the 45 hair flips in the entire series.
Yeah.
There's like a supercut of every single time Loki flips his hair back, and it's like a 2-minute video.
I wonder who has more hair flips, him or Black Widow?
Well, we'll talk about that later on.
That was one of my favorite parts of Black Widow. We'll get to that.
So, yeah, there are a lot of moving parts. B-15 sneaks into Sylvie's room. They go back to Roxcart, and she asks Sylvie to unlock what is kind of like been repressed, because B-15 believes what Sylvie's claim is that they are all variants and they've all essentially been kidnapped from where they were. And Sylvie shows B-15 her past, and she was like, I look happy. And she's now, for lack of a better term, pissed that she was just literally plucked out of her reality and stolen without consent or anything of that nature. Meanwhile, at the same time, Mobius is starting to get doubts of his own.
Yep.
And he goes into, Loki's little, time loop of hell. Tells Lady Sif, take 5. And he says, what if I believe you, Loki? I mean, you've lied to everyone else. What if I believe you this time? And essentially what it comes down to, they both get released. Wait, no, I'm out. I'm remembering it wrong.
Yeah, he goes to talk to Renslayer to try to talk to her.
Try to talk to her.
Ask her if she knows that she doesn't tell him anything. I think he stole her tent pad.
Yes.
And then he sees the interview with the agent that was stolen, that was kidnapped prior, finds out that they wiped her and got rid of her to cover up what she was exposing. And that's when he goes to Loki. He's like, okay, so now I kind of believe you.
It's like, yeah, let's just say that I believe you.
Yeah. Decides to let him out. And that's when the first big WTF, I was like, whoa, was when he gets pruned. Was Mobius.
Oh yeah, because as soon as he gets let out, Renslayer's waiting with a couple Minutemen, and he's like, look, I don't know what my past was like. Maybe in my past I was happy and I had a family. Maybe I had a jet ski.
Yeah.
Maybe I was a red racing car. Maybe I crashed weddings.
Dude,
Cameron,
that would have been
maybe
such a missed opportunity.
maybe I worked at Google for a little while.
Maybe I had a blue steel. Maybe I was, friends with Zoolander.
That could have been so. They
Hansel,
try not
he's
to
so
make it.
hot right now. Oh, Hansel. That's what it was.
But yeah, Mobius got pruned. And I will say this: like I had been watching, and this was the second episode that I didn't make a video on. But the moment that it happened, I hopped on Twitter and I was like, "Mobius, no!"
Yeah.
Like I was like, and I didn't say anything specifically, but I was like, I was like, "Oh my gosh, that actually shocked me. I was not expecting Mobius to get pruned."
Yeah.
Nick says he wished that Mobius had stayed dead to show that Marvel's actually willing to let the death sit with you. And I will say this, or I'll ask this question. Name me 3 characters. No, 3 is too easy. Actually 3. Name 3 characters that have actually stayed dead in the comics. Like, even with characters that generally do stay dead, like Uncle Ben, Gwen Stacy.
Uncle Ben just keeps dying over and over.
He just keeps dying over and over in different versions. Gwen Stacy has come back as a clone, as different. She's come back in a different reality where she's Spider-Woman. You can talk about Thomas and Martha Wayne. Oh, they did the Flashpoint where Martha Wayne was Joker and Thomas Wayne was Batman, but he had a gun and he would execute fools. Like nobody stays dead in comic books. Why do you think it'd be any different in the show?
Yeah. So then the episode goes to, they're taking Sylvie and Loki to see the Timekeepers. We're like, oh, it's finally happening. We're going to get to see who's behind all of this. They show up, and they get put in front of these 3 big beings that are like floating.
Didn't look like real people.
No, I right off the bat, I'm like, okay, these guys are clearly not real.
I was ready to order some pizza myself.
And then they basically, I don't remember what the Timekeepers were even saying. But then B-15 comes in, releases Loki and Sylvie, and then shit goes down. Sorry to swear. And they all fight. And one of my kind of, I guess, gripes with the series is some of the fight choreography in this show wasn't Marvel's best. Not gonna lie, in my opinion, it just sometimes seemed really. I don't know if it was that it was like slow or just not smooth. Some of it, and this scene was definitely one that I felt like I was like, just it didn't feel good. And I think part of it was they had too many of the Loki hair flips. They had to count that too much. It's like, oh wait, he's gonna get the hair flip. Don't attack him while he's flipping his hair, of course, because then it takes away from the shot. I mean, come on.
I really wish I had a wig on right now, because I would be doing hair flips over and over if I could fit the wig over my actual hair.
I have a Thor wig that I use because I've dressed up as Bro Thor, if I'm being proper.
Yes.
Fat Thor, as we all know him. I have a whole get up for that I break out.
The Thor Lebowski.
Yes, it's pretty fun. I don't have to get a gut though. A fake gut. I got that locked down. So
mine is very real.
So then they're all fighting, and that's when they finally beat them all, and she throws the sword at the Timekeeper in the middle, chops its head off, and surprise, surprise, it's a robot.
It's a robot.
And it's like, what? What just happened? Oh my god.
One of the big 3.
Yes.
One of the big 3.
One of the big 3. Robots, androids. Or wait. No, it's what is it? What are the androids,
sorcerers, and aliens.
Yes, aliens.
It was one of the androids.
Yep. And so that's when they're like, oh, okay, well now what do we do? And then Loki's about to say something very meaningful to her, And then the next big moment is Loki gets pruned. I was like, what? That was pretty crazy.
Yeah, he's going to say something to her real
Yeah, it
sweet,
was a real like
and
sweet
then
moment.
Renslayer just
Look, we can still figure
prunes
this
him.
out. There's more going on, and then bye bye.
Yep. At that point, I didn't feel so bad for Mobius because I'm like, well, if
Yeah.
Loki's going to get pruned, then
Exactly.
Mobius
I'm like,
has to get
there's
pruned.
no
Yeah.
way they're killing
And
off
so
the
then-
main character. At that point, I'm
That,
like,
and that's what, and then Nick, that's why what you're saying, like, all due respect, if you bring back a character back right after he dies at one point, they were showing basically that a pruning wasn't death.
yeah, and I think the moment that the timekeeper's head gets cut off, the robot's head gets cut off, at that point you have to assume that the whole timekeeper's all of it's been a lie. So the fact that Loki gets pruned there, immediately you're just like, okay, well, yeah, he's definitely not going to be dead then. If these timekeepers were fake, then the pruning thing has to be fake. Like, that's how I took it, at least.
Yeah. Well, the pruning thing, you knew something happened. You just didn't know
Yes,
what.
yes. Up
Because-
until that moment, we do believe, like, oh, this person is getting reset. Like, they're gone.
Right.
But then it's like, oh, maybe not.
So, yeah.
And this episode had the first post-credit scene as well, or I think it was mid-credit.
Was it the first or was it the only? I think it was the only one.
The only. Yeah.
That's when Loki is kind of like,
Oh.
he wakes up in the middle of a wasteland and he's like, am I in hell? Which is interesting because I watch with subtitles and they spelled it with one L, which
did
is,
they?
yes,
Oh,
they
I
only
didn't know
spell it
that.
with one L in the
Yeah.
subtitles, which is the Nordic spelling of the underworld.
Yeah.
And then you hear a voice saying, no, but if you don't come with us, you will be. And that's when we are introduced to other variants. There are
Loki.
technically 4 variants that we see on the screen in front of our Loki. There's Boastful Loki,
Boastful
Kid
Loki.
Loki, Classic Loki, and the fan favorite, Alligator Loki. Not my
Alligator
favorite.
Loki.
Not my favorite, but there are so
Yeah.
many shirts with an alligator on it with horns on that I just
He's the most
No.
profitable one for Marvel.
Yes.
So that's why he's the most favorite. Because he's the one they can turn into t-shirts and apparel and toys, and not many people are going to ask for a classic Loki toy, I don't think. So
he's the only Loki that they could put on a shirt with Baby Yoda and sell with nobody
Yes.
even batting an eye.
Yes, absolutely. That shirt will
Hey,
sell
what happened to you?
so much. Oh, I'm gone. Oh, not there.
I don't know. I don't know what happened to you.
He's tweaking the settings.
No, I turned
Is
into
that
you.
me? I'm sorry.
Holy crap.
My apologies.
We're-
My apologies.
Yeah, you
Are,
messed up
are
the
we
Discord.
variants of each
I'm
other?
missing
Hey.
things. We're variants. We're variants. My bad. I got a weird request, and I'm just making sure the request was legit.
I was like, holy crap, I'm white. I went there.
Like it's possible.
I went there. I'm gonna go get a loan now. Okay, enough about that.
Callbacks to Falcon Winter Soldier. I see what you did there.
Yes.
Yes, it was episode 1.
Yep.
What in the world? Okay, sorry.
Let's see. So
Moving some stuff. You got to see my bald spot. Oh, shiny. That's when we get to episode 5. What was the name of that episode? What was the title of episode 5?
episode 5 was
Oh,
Journey into Mystery.
Journey into Mystery.
Journey into Mystery. A play upon the first appearance of Loki, if I remember correctly.
Yes, I believe so.
So this is where we spend a lot of time in this wasteland, which is towards the end of time. That's where anybody that gets pruned, they end up there, and it gets devoured by a being called Alioth. Alioth is a smoke dragon. Yeah, you may. I'm trying to think. Like, I think that's the. Sorry, I'm laughing at the chat. I'm like, why is there a Toy Story quote in here? But
Natalie, that's me doing side quest.
so we are introduced to, like I said, all these variant Lokis, and we're introduced to Eliat, the smoke monster that consumes anything that it eats. Which is why all the other Lokis tell Tom Hiddleston's Loki that we have to move,
We got to
uh,
go.
or we will surely die. Uh, they get they go to their hideout where our Loki finds out that Kid Loki's the one that's in charge, and they're like, why are we listening to this little snot? He's like, I killed Thor.
I killed Thor. Yeah, I was like, oh, wow, okay.
So yeah,
But it
they.
also implies that he killed Thor when Thor was probably young as well, right?
Oh yeah, he didn't kill a full-grown Thor.
Yeah, no chance.
Like,
Remember, Thor made the reference, and New Rockstars kind of talked about this a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Thor had made the reference that one time Loki had turned himself to a snake, and he loves snakes.
Yeah.
And one time he jumped out and he surprised him and stabbed him.
Yeah.
And they're thinking that maybe that's the time that
in his timeline, he actually killed him there.
He actually killed him there.
Yeah.
it definitely could have been. I can definitely see that happening. This little snot looked like he could turn into a snake. He's hanging around with an alligator. There's nothing out of the realm of possibility.
Right, nothing out of the realm. Nothing out of the realm.
So they head to their hideout, and I'm definitely leaving out a lot of other things that are going on at the TVA at this time. I'm just focusing on this wasteland at the present time. And Boastful Loki's talking about all of these things that clearly never happened because he is Boastful Loki. And
then he killed Iron Man. Saying that he killed somebody. They're all just like, oh, okay, yeah, right.
Yeah. Like, whatever. Meanwhile, Kid Loki's over there drinking his Ecto Cooler.
Yeah.
Alligator Loki's chilling in his little tub.
Little kiddie pool.
And in classic Loki tells about the moment that he came into contact with Thanos, the Mad Titan, and how he created an illusion so powerful that it fooled even him. Yeah. And he just turned himself, or made himself look like he was a piece of debris, and floated out into space to where he stayed.
Pulled a Star Wars move.
Yep, pretty much. Let's see. Nick says Richard E. Grant is the best character of the series. Changed my mind.
I will not change your mind.
Alligator Loki was my favorite.
I'm not going to change your mind, Nick. I will say that out of all the Lokis presented, he was the most impressive.
Yes.
I'm not going to say he was the best, because that is purely subjective. But nobody can disagree with the fact that he exhibited the best power of any of the Lokis.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I will say that.
That's what he had talked about in the episode, like the daggers make Loki's weak or too dependent, or something he was referring to as far as the daggers being the way that they kind of keep the Lokis from experiencing their true power.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's one thing that, go ahead. I
was gonna say this episode also had so many Easter eggs. Probably the biggest Easter egg heavy episode in the series. Even just as they were walking to their lair, you see the Thanos copter was one. You see as they're going down, down
Frog Thor,
Froki or whatever it is. Frog.
No, it's not Froki. It was Throg.
Throg, yeah.
Yes.
So that was pretty insane. I was like, "Holy crap!" And he's jumping toward one of the Mjolnirs that was there. And actually, I heard something the other day that they didn't really talk, but the voice of the
grunt,
the grunt was actually Chris Hemsworth.
That is confirmed.
No, he I thought that he did talk. He said like, "Help me" or "Save me" or something like that.
He was just like,
I don't know.
He was like grunting, trying to get Mjolnir.
Let's see, I have it up right here. I'll listen to it real quick. Yeah, he just kind of yells. He goes, ah, ah, ah.
Mhm.
So yeah, and then the TVA jumps back to the TVA, and Renslayer's trying to convince Sylvie, like, hey, look, I don't know what's going on. I'm just as confused as you. Like, let's figure this out together. And then Sylvie decides to believe her and trust her. And then
For a brief moment.
for a brief moment, and then it jumps to her and Miss Minutes, and Miss Minutes is like trying to find some, like, oh yeah, well, I'm getting right on that. Let me find that for you, Renslayer, blah blah blah. And that's when Sylvie's like, okay, y'all are lying to me, and then
Right.
she ends up, yeah, she's like, you're just stalling, and then she ends up pruning herself, because yeah, she thought that was going to be a good idea. Maybe she came to the realization,
Well,
like, oh
no. I think Renslayer had kind of tipped her off and told her, "What if I told you Loki wasn't dead?" And she looked
oh,
at you
you're
like,
right,
"What do you
yes,
mean?"
yes,
And she says, "Well, when you prune something, you can't necessarily
yeah.
kill it off the timeline, so it has to go somewhere where it gets." I forgot how she explained it, but essentially, it goes to this void where essentially everything gets
Yeah.
purged out permanently. Kind of like the big. So basically, when you prune somebody, you just it's the big dumpster for the TVA.
So then Loki is trying to convince them, like, look, we can save, like, we can get out of here. We don't have to be stuck here. Let's figure out a way. And they're just telling him, like, dude, we've been here for a very long time. There's no way out of this. You can't do it. It's not gonna happen. Then Loki gives like a big old Captain America like speech to like trying to
Yes.
convince them.
Yes.
And then at the end they just laugh and like, ah, yeah, okay, yeah, right. And then he's like, fine, I'll go do it myself. Climbs the ladder, and that's when, oh, all the other Loki variants show up.
President Loki.
President
President
Loki.
Loki and some of the Lokis that we saw in the earlier episode 2, and they showed all the different variants, which I thought kind of cool. And then we get that big old fight scene there. Find out that boastful Loki betrayed them, essentially told them where they were because that he could be king or whatever.
Yep.
And then President Loki's like, yeah, about that, no. And then all the other Lokis are like, ah, that's what you think. Aha, Loki, can't trust me. And we get a crazy fight scene.
Before the crazy fight scene, we get President Loki getting the ultimate Star Wars treatment by losing a hand.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
From Alligator Loki.
Yes.
Jumping up and biting his hand off.
Like he grabs his stuff and he's like, ah!
Yep.
I'm sorry, I laughed really hard whenever that
I
happened.
did too.
It was pretty funny.
And in that scene, it was pretty cool how classic Loki's actually he cast the projections of them looking like they were still in the fight so that they could escape, which I thought was pretty. Another way just showing he's really powerful. Kind of alluding to.
Uh-oh. What happened?
Uh-oh. Did we lose Bay?
I don't know.
That was weird. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I can hear you.
Okay.
Uh-oh. Lost Bay.
Lost
Bay.
That was really weird. My Discord randomly just showed up, like reappeared, and then like made the Discord joining the call. Did you lose my face cam?
Yeah, your face cam's gone.
Okay, we're not yet. Am I back?
You're back.
Yay!
You're back.
That was really weird.
My daughter's over here is like, where'd you go, Daddy? I can't see you. I'm like, shh, quiet.
There we go. Okay. So yeah, then they escape while the other Lokis are in there, just having a jolly good time. And that's when we get Sylvie showing up in this void area or whatever you call it, trying to figure out what's going on. And then she sees this big monster thing, and she's like, "Oh, that doesn't look fun." And then Mobius shows up, saves the day to grab her, and they go away. But also, when she first did, that's when she did get the, like, what was she briefly was like able to see into
Enchant.
the memory of
She
it,
could
and
kind of-
she
She
unintentionally
touched her.
unintentionally
She
enchanted
was
it
able to
somehow.
Enchanted it, yeah.
So that was a thing. So that kind of gives her the idea later on of what to do. Then the ship randomly shows up, gets destroyed by Eliath.
Yep. It was the what was it?
Oh yeah, it was some. Actually,
It was
yeah.
Oh, I can't remember
Was
what
it
it
the
was.
Titanic? No,
No, it wasn't the
It was
Titanic.
a warship.
It's some
It was a
warship
warship.
that disappeared in the Bermuda Triangle, basically. I think, right?
I wish I could remember which one it was.
I have it up here in a second.
Sorry, my hair I just destroyed. There we go. I want to. It's not the Mesopotamia. It's. Oh God. I wish I could remember.
The USS Eldridge.
Okay. I would have never gotten that if I would have thought about it for a while.
It was right
I'll
on
at
the
least
tip
be
of my
honest.
tongue.
There you go. You can go ahead and say it. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be like,
No,
I don't remember.
I couldn't remember at all. So yeah,
Nope.
this was a ship of the United States.
Oh, snap. Walked into that one, didn't I?
Stop getting wrecked.
Leave me alone, man. It's boring. It's the same 10 fights over and over and over again. For eternity.
But yeah, they
For all time.
Same 10 fights over and over for all time.
For all time. It's like being stuck in the stupid red door time loop thing.
I see that.
You talking about the side event?
Yes.
Yeah, there's some side events that are just super repetitive. That's like, did I really have to do this over and over again?
And it's only because I want 6-star shards.
Yeah, same. Yep. Well, and you want to get the. Well, actually, I mean.
Honestly, I'm only doing this for the 6-star shards.
Yeah, there's something else, isn't there? At the final awards, there's. Oh, it's you get 10% of a T5 CC. Woohoo!
Yeah. Woo-hoo.
Oh, don't forget on the last milestone though, you can get a special Hercules profile picture.
Oh, there you go.
There it is.
There you go. I cannot wait for that.
Yeah, that's the real kicker you got to get, of course. So yeah. Anyways, back to Loki and not our addiction that we have of torture. So yeah, they're trying to figure out a way to get out of and they think it has something to do with when Eliath absorbs something else that they can go around it. I think, isn't it? They think that they can like.
They're thinking. Well, Loki thinks he's of the mind. It's
Thanks,
like
Phil, Have a good one, man.
you explained it as Eliath is the shark and we're in the tank. Well, just because it's a shark doesn't mean that we can't kill it. And so there's got to be some way for it to die. That was his idea. Where Sylvie, her thinking is like, we can enchant it and then we can figure out exactly what we need to do. It doesn't have to require blunt force trauma, essentially.
Yeah.
They do eventually meet up. Well, Loki asks if Kid Loki, Alligator Loki, and Classic Loki want to help, and they're like, we want to live. So
yeah, we're good. We
He's
got
out.
everything going here. We'll just chill.
And you see like Classic Loki kind of look back, and we're like, oh no, what's gonna happen?
Yeah.
And how does I don't recall, how does Mobius get back?
Yes.
Oh,
When Sylvie
pad.
went there, she had a tent pad.
Yeah.
She took a tent
Okay.
pad with her. And we also got the scene too where Loki and Sylvie were sitting down next to each other. Another pretty intimate moment, showing that they might have feelings for each other. Loki conjures himself a little blanket, which a lot of people pointed out that he had no need for that because he is a frost giant technically and shouldn't get cold.
Right.
So that was literally just a way to, see if she would want it as well.
Congratulations, Cyber.
Oh, nice. Thronebreaker. That's huge, dude.
He was trying to Netflix and chill, okay?
Yeah,
Yeah, he was.
Oh, yeah. More emphasis on the chill part, I think.
Well, he's a frost giant. That's what they do.
Hey, yes, very good. So yeah, then they figure out their plan. They go in. Mobius
More gaming.
Mobius tells him, he's like, what do you want? Like, are you sure you don't want to come back with me? And he asks Mobius what's he gonna do when he gets back there, and he calls back to Loki's line earlier. Says, "I'm gonna burn it to the ground."
Burn it to the ground.
And then as he's hugging Loki, he tells Sylvie, he's like, "You're my favorite." I thought that was pretty funny.
It was funny.
It was just a good Owen Wilson line. Just always having to be funny and being the comic that he is. Just always had to throw something funny in there. Like, of course. Like, by the way, you were my favorite.
Yeah. So we got a small raid happening.
Hey, who's raiding us?
Thank you, AP Raid or AP Waves for the raid. You got the AP Rage raid. Did he rage in his stream? Is that what happened?
Super Gaming in the house too. What's up, bro?
Super. What's going on, my man?
Good dude right there.
Yep.
Wasn't he he's taking a break for a while, so he's back now?
He took a break. He was back week before last, and then we didn't see him last week. I know he was trying to get things figured out on the PC. I don't know if that was part of why we didn't see him last week at all.
Sweet. Super. I'm assuming you're all caught up on all things MCU.
Summer Pain Rage. Got you.
Oof. How have you been doing with those summer pain?
I've taken one fight a week. I usually find an objective, one objective, do the one fight, get the one objective done, and that's all I care for.
Yeah. I've been grinding it out to get it all done. So
you'll hit the last milestone?
As of now, I'm on pace 2, yeah. So hopefully I can keep that up.
Yeah, these next 3 weeks should be telltale.
Honestly, I know I'm going to say this now, and the next one we get is going to be terrible, but the last 3 weeks it's gotten progressively easier.
Yeah, they weren't too bad.
So hopefully it can keep at that pace, not going the opposite way. But I have a feeling I'm not going to get my wish on that.
Got you. All right, so where are we at on episode?
Yes,
they're about to confront Goliath, and the plan is for Tom Hiddleston's Loki to distract it, and Sylvie to enchant it. And as they're trying to go with their plan, it's not going as planned, and they are in for a world of hurt until Richard Grant shows up. And this is honestly, in my opinion, the best scene in the entire season, where he literally
the best moment. Holy crap!
He constructs a full 1-to-1 scale of Asgard as an illusion, showing just how powerful of a Loki he is.
Mm-hmm. And holds it for quite a while.
And holds it. He's just like, not only am I going to put it up there, but it's going to be, long enough to where y'all can get done what you need to do. And it's absolutely brilliant. The visuals are brilliant. Like the fact that they decided to really show the full potential of what Loki could be. I'm so glad that we got to see that.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that Tom Hiddleston's Loki got to see that, because now we can possibly see him do something like that later on. Because as Richard Grant's Loki's doing, as classic Loki's doing that, not only is Sylvie trying to enchant Goliath, but she doesn't have enough oomph to do it. So Tom Hiddleston's Loki, our Loki, has to join her, learn how to enchant on the fly, and both of them have to do it together. Which, after we possibly see classic Loki perish at the hands of Goliath, they do enchant this smoke dragon, and then as he's enchanted, the clouds kind of disperse and open up, and we see this castle, and that is the end of episode 5. But we're not going to get into episode 6 just yet, because there are a few things that we have to talk about.
Such as?
We have to talk about the fact that I don't think that classic Loki's definitely gone. I think that classic Loki is possibly still around.
Yes, because I think,
Okay.
remember when he referred back to when he made himself
A pile of debris.
pile of debris, like he did for Thanos.
Yeah.
I
Because that was
think he
actually
did
a
the
theory
same
after
thing.
episode 5, before 6 started, was that maybe he's the one that's actually behind it all, and that was his way to get them to trust him and walking them into his trap. But that clearly wasn't
There
the
were
case.
so many theories as to
There's
who
a
could be
lot.
in the castle. Like
Yep.
there were theories about it could be
Dr.
King
Doom,
Loki,
King
Doctor
Loki,
Doom,
Mm-hmm.
Kang the Conqueror.
Yep.
King.
There were some other ones that didn't, but those were my big three. I was like, it's one of those three. However, I will say this: there were too many clues pointing to one of those three in particular throughout the
Yeah.
show
Yep.
that it was hard to make logical and
Jesus.
believable assumptions to the other ones because there were characters that were introduced like Renslayer. There were entities used like Eliath. There were things in the background of episode 5.
King Power.
Yes, because in the comics, Avengers Tower was sold to somebody who ended up being Kang the Conqueror.
Mhm.
And all of these allusions to comics or comic book characters that showed up around this one character, um, everything came to fruition. Everything is as it was, and we were introduced to the one above all, or Immortus,
He who
or
remains.
he who remains. Thank you, not
Yes.
the one above all. That's a different character. Um, how dare I get those wrong?
I think the thing though that refrained a lot of people from actually full on thinking it was going to be Kang, because there were, like you did, there was a lot of things leading up to making us believe that was going to be the case, was the whole WandaVision Mysterio misdirect. Because
Yes.
it was, you could say the same thing about that show, that they laid so many Easter eggs for Mephisto and then it wasn't Mephisto.
No, Mephisto.
So for me, that's kind of where it was like, I wanted to believe, like, oh, this is definitely leading up to Kang. Like, in the comics, Kang has so much to do with the TVA. Like, the second that was announced, everyone was like, Kang's going to be in the show. Um, and the fact that he's already been announced that the character's been cast, he's going to be an Ant-Man and the Wasp. It was like, oh, but would they actually introduce this character in something else that they've already announced he's going to be the villain for? And now, obviously, we'll get into episode 6 in a second, but I think the way they did his character explains how that's going to go. So yeah, that's where it's like, I wanted to believe it, but who knows? It was hard to say for sure if it was going to happen, but they did,
sure.
and it was pretty epic. So
For sure.
can-
Just want to real quick want to say what's up, Daenerys. Super. Sorry to hear about your hospital statement.
Yeah,
Glad
I saw
you're
that
getting
too.
better. Triz, what's going on, my guy? Be more, Manuel. All the people who stopped in. Who Brian is Ronan, P Squared. All the guys from AP's stream. Appreciate you guys stopping in. Late or not, it is perfectly fine. We are wrapping up episode 5. You're ready to move into episode 6.
the finale of Loki.
The
So if
finale
you haven't
of-
watched the finale, now's your time to get away. Even though we already
Yeah.
kind of spoiled some of it.
We did spoil some,
Yeah.
but it wasn't unearned. We led up to it.
Yeah, it wasn't like we started and we said, Kang is here!
Surprise!
Surprise! So yeah, shall we go
So
into
episode 6, what was the title of episode 6?
Oh, the other thing we missed too, actually, before classic Loki was killed, as we're saying, he yelled out the glorious purpose.
Glorious
yeah.
Purpose, yes.
The classic Loki
Oh
line.
yeah.
That was pretty
I
good.
want to see. Richard Grant actually went on a talk show and said he wanted to have like a spin-off show with him and Alligator Loki. So it's kind of like a Turner and Hooch kind of thing, except they're Lokis. I don't know if the powers that be would be okay with that, but watching Richard Grant as Loki, I'm sold.
I do want him back because I did really like his character, and I wish we had gotten more of it in the show. But episode 6 is titled "For All Time Always,"
Yes, all time always.
and this episode
so
picks up
opens
right where
up
we left
right
off.
where 6 left off. Or right where 5
Yeah, actually,
left off.
first off, it had a really cool opening montage, like going through the cosmos, just like all these different kind of Easter eggs, voiceovers of many other characters in the MCU, some not even MCU quotes and stuff from like famous historians and just
Oh yeah, that's right.
tons of other stuff, all flashing through. You can put it on subtitles and it'll tell you everyone and what they're saying. So if you want to go through that, or there's videos of people breaking it down. I'm not going to go through all of them, but it was really cool. Like oh wow, this is cool. Just showing how, and then then you see the time stream of a constant thing. So that was basically just like going through the time stream, which is pretty cool. And then it shows the castle in the center of this time stream at the end of time, essentially.
Right.
So then as they approach the doors just randomly open. They open like on their own, and it's very spooky. They're walking in, they see these two statue figures that have clocks for heads. And then we get the biggest jump scare of the show. Like, who didn't jump when this happened? Like, holy crap, Miss Minutes, you scared the crap out of me. It's like dead silent, and then she pops up, says hello, and you're like, oh my gosh, I've never been so afraid of a clock in my life. Yeah, it was just like, oh. And that's when she explains the "He Who Remains" thing, and everyone's like, oh, it's He Who Remains.
See who remains. Yeah.
Which, if you don't know, I'll pass this over to you if
Cameron.
you want to explain. Cameron, my guy Cameron here.
Cameron's looking like Cameron gave us look like. What do I know?
What do I know? What are you
do you
talking
know
about?
more about the character He Who Remains than I do?
He Who Remains? No, I don't.
Okay. You're supposed to be the comic book expert. I'm
He Who Remains, like the character explains later on in the episode that he's known by many different names.
Yeah.
Correct.
He's known as Immortus. I don't even know if they use that name.
They didn't use that name in the show.
In the show,
he refers to himself later on as a conqueror.
Yes,
which is the closest we get to a Kang the Conqueror name drop.
But
yeah, he never actually gave his name.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't give his name. He is only specifically referred to as He Who Remains in the show.
Yeah.
But even though I, do have comics, and I do have comics where Kang is in them, it is not a character that I have done extensive research on. He's not one of my favorites, although I have said that I wanted him to be the next bad that the Avengers go against. I think that it's going to be more than just an Avengers level threat. I think, and I'm getting ahead of myself, so to speak. Kang is one of those characters that deals a lot with time, and as shown in the show, it's not just time, but it's also is it also like realities? He found different realities where other versions of himself existed.
Yeah, he basically explained it like the worlds were, the realities were layered on top of each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is the first time that we'll see different versions. No, this is the second time that we'll see different versions of the same character. The first time being Loki.
In-game.
In-game.
Well, in-game.
Yeah.
In-game, you got a different Thanos.
That's not a different version, though. It was just a past version.
It's
I guess
still technically a different version, though. I feel like maybe I don't know.
This is up for debate.
Yeah,
definitely up for debate.
I will say it's a different Thanos, but it's not a different version. It's a Thanos from a different time but it's the same reality.
Got you. So it's not a different reality. It's just they went back in time and that Thanos came back.
Whereas, like, yeah, all these Lokis are different. They're different realities. You've got classic, boastful, alligator. Like, these are different versions.
I want to see the world the alligator Loki came from. Like, is everyone there an alligator, or is everyone there just an animal?
All the frost giants are alligators. Everybody else is normal.
What would, like, Thor be? Or I was wondering if maybe that's the world that Thor is a Throg.
It could possibly be. Give me a second. I need to do something really quickly. I'm gonna see if I can mute myself.
Cool. Looks like we got there's so much history with the comics with Kane, many variations that is true. We might even see Iron Lad. It's very possible with the multiverse now being introduced with all this, especially with the Loki series. You are definitely going to be introducing more possibilities to more characters being added into the MCU. The gateways for them to be there are now going to be there, and all that all those different things. You might even get some callbacks to. I mean, they've already got Chris Evans signed back on to do some more work with the MCU. You might get Robert Downey Jr. to come back at some point and be somebody. There's going to be a lot of different things that's going to happen, I believe, in the MCU.
So it was basically like when they first, like, the reveal of He Who Remains was super cool. I really liked it. And
the way he came to open up the elevators.
Yeah, he just opened up the elevators. He's sitting there eating the apple, and he's like, just like, and he's like, I know what's gonna happen, and she's like trying to attack him, and he's just like moving all over the place. And he's just explaining.
Yes, I did say Chris Evans is supposed to be coming back doing some MCU stuff. We don't know what yet, but he's definitely coming back.
I didn't even know about that, and I usually got my finger on the pulse. Like it's been quiet, hush type thing. Like, it's barely talked about.
Did Kevin Feige tell you himself?
Yeah, I mean, I got Feige's direct line. Feige and I play golf on the fourth Sunday of every month.
Oh, okay, nice. Where's my invite? The heck?
Sorry, man.
Guess we're not that tight yet. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, he flies me up on his jet, bro.
Yeah, I'm not cool enough for the jet yet, I guess.
Nick, I don't even want him to come back as Human Torch. Like,
no, definitely, we don't want him to come back as Human Torch. We don't want nobody to come back from that Fantastic Four. From that one or the other.
I wouldn't mind Jessica Alba coming back. But
no, actually that would be the one I minded the most. I want Michael Chiklis. He portrayed a really good thing.
Yeah. In
the first movie, not so much the second movie, but that's.
Well, nobody played well in the second movie, man.
There's the second movie. I don't remember.
I'm trying to think. Did
you don't remember that one with the silver guy?
Really remember a first one.
Silver Surfer wasn't awful. I mean, Doug Jones looked great.
I honestly don't even know if I ever saw the second one, actually.
Well, then, can I have your consciousness?
After.
Because I did in
you
theaters.
Wish you hadn't?
I don't want to talk about
did. I just don't remember at all what happens in it.
I think we all at one point we give all the movies a shot, so I think you probably did.
Yeah, I know. I saw the reboot one with like Michael B. Jordan and.
Oh my God, that's one of.
That's a whole nother mess of a story.
Worst movies he was ever in.
Yeah, it's like I love Michael B. Jordan, but man.
Like, bruh,
not your
what
best.
made you sign? What in this script said? You know what? This is gonna be good.
Yeah.
Or was it just the money they put in front of you?
I don't know.
All right, so they're talking to. Oh crap!
Yeah, they get in the elevators where we were at.
Yeah. And then, as we're getting off, Sylvie tries to attack him.
She tries to attack him while they're in the elevator, and he just kind of
Yep.
bounces around. And
Yeah, he kind of bounces around with his little temp pad. That's
Yeah.
a little bit better than temp pad than what the TVA had.
The temp pads are like iPhones, and his is like an iWatch. It's like on his hand. He's like, I don't need to hold it in my hand.
like a first generation iPhone versus an iPhone 12.
Yeah, like circular, nice and easy to get to. Bam, 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 ribby, dam, dam. That's essentially all he had to do instead of those sweet Game Boy graphics that the TVA use. It's an old school Wonder Brick Game Boy graphics for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about.
Right. So she tries to attack him, uses tip pad to kind of flip around, and he's laughing at her at this time, trying to figure out. And they're kind of trying to figure out like what's going on. And he's trying to talk to them and explain to them like, I know what's going to happen before you guys know, because I know that's who I am.
Yeah, and he shows them the script of like their exact words of what they're saying, and they're just like, "We don't believe you. This is all an act." And
right, so he pulls the scripts out, he throws them in front of him. He's like, "There you go.
Oh, here you go.
There you go."
I knew you were going to say that.
Super says, "I believe the tech is based off of Stark design." I've heard that where his tip pad was kind of based off of Stark's in-game,
the Mobius strip.
Yeah, the Mobius strip.
Which also, now we find out, call back to Mobius, maybe. Who knows?
Don't know. I see Cameron muted. I think he's waiting for...
Yeah, my... So if you'll notice, on my other account, Hold on.
And that's when we do live stream with kids in the background. So there's that.
As I was saying,
there we go.
My son was watching this live stream on my phone, like his older sister was. But the difference between his older sister and him is that she was just sitting and watching, and he started commenting in the chat.
I was wondering, like, he's sitting here. What he's commenting? Why is he commenting?
It wasn't me. It was the 7-year-old. So that's why.
That's right, Cameron. You never take blame. You always blame it on the 7-year-old.
Always. That's why you have kids, is so you can blame them. Yeah.
I eat all the sweets, and they get all the blame.
That's right.
But now the problem is you said that on camera.
My wife ain't watching this. She's not watching this.
She's not paying that much attention.
That's why I'm not worried about it. It's like, boom, confessional. I feel so much better.
Finally got that off my chest.
Nick says the best representation of Doom he's ever seen was in Earth's Mightiest Heroes, and he's only like in 2 episodes. To that, I will say you are correct. That I 100% agree with you. He shows up in like a couple episodes. One of the episodes was like episode 2 of season 2. Amazing. I 100% agree with you there. Even though that's totally off topic of Loki, they're talking about a Doctor Doom representation in the MCU, when it will happen and who they want to play him. I disagree with the Mads Mikkelsen. I feel like he's already played Caecilius in Doctor Strange, and even though there have been other people that have portrayed or portrayed more than one character in the MCU, I think they need somebody completely new. And I think that the perfect person for that role would be Rami Malek. But that is just one opinion to another. If you don't know who Rami Malek was, he was in... he played Freddie Mercury in the Bohemian Rhapsody movie. Okay. He also was one of the characters. He's going to be in the new James Bond movie that's coming out either later this year or early next year. Also, Rami Malek was, gosh, what else was he in? There's another big movie that he was in, but like I said, the biggest one, he played Freddie Mercury.
I love that
Um,
movie too.
so I think that he would be a perfect Victor Von Doom, um, in my opinion. I did say, um, I mean, the thing is, he doesn't. There are a lot of people that before they get into a role, they don't have the physical physique for it, but they can, bulk up or they can slim down. Chris
Yep.
Pratt,
I was just
flipping
about to say Chris Pratt is a
Chris
perfect.
Pratt is a perfect
If
example.
anyone has
Yeah.
watched Parks and Recreation, the show that basically made Chris Pratt, he is not what he looks like as Star-Lord. And you
No.
can very clearly tell throughout that show when he takes the role of Star-Lord and when he did not have the role of Star-Lord. Because
Yeah.
I think the show like ended shortly after the first Guardians came out.
So we're back to Loki and Sylvie are in the mansion with He Who Remains, and
She still calls me that. Cute. I have to say that.
okay,
That's what he said about her. He said she still calls me that. That's cute.
Yeah, he's like, I kind of like it.
I'm lost now. Sorry.
You don't remember that part, Cameron?
No, I don't.
So yeah, I think
When they first meet him before they get in the elevator, they go, "You're he who remains," and he's like, "She still calls me that." Talking
Oh
about
yeah,
Miss Minutes. He's
Miss
like,
Minutes,
"Hey,
yeah.
it's kind of a little bit much, but I like it."
Got you. Sorry. I need to. That's the one thing I didn't do. I didn't go back and revisit all these episodes. That's something that
I didn't rewatch any of the episodes either. That's
I
why
haven't
I'm like,
rewatched any myself either.
See, shame on us.
I'm way
Like,
more
oh,
prepared
right.
usually.
WandaVision, I watched every episode at
Dude,
least twice, if
I
not
did
3 or
too.
4 times.
Same.
Because I was like, I'm missing something in every single one. And with Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I was like, I don't have the time. I just didn't, and I didn't have the time here. Like, I've got other things going on, and it's not YouTube stuff, but it's other things going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I watched them when they came out, and then I tried to retain as much as possible.
Yeah, that's pretty
Especially if I wasn't making a video right after, which I only made a video right after 3 of those times.
3, yeah.
No, it wasn't even 3. I did it 1, 2,
Oh, that's right.
and then I did a finale.
You did a finale. That's right.
And the finale, I decided to go non-spoiler because I just didn't have all the details prepared. And I said, you know what? How I felt about the season is probably going to have more to offer than if I try to break down things, because other people can break down things better, but nobody can talk about how I feel. So that's why I went in that direction.
Makes sense. So yeah, after we kind of get the brief introduction of what He Who Remains is talking to them, telling them like, yeah, I'm in charge of all of this. I know what's going to happen, blah, blah, blah. We jump over to Renslayer and Mobius. Mobius gets back to the TVA, and she's like, oh, you made it back. How'd you do that, or whatever? And he's basically like telling them like, look, we got to destroy this. It's not what we think it is, blah, blah, blah. And that's when I don't know if she knocks him out or something.
He tried. She says, you can't beat me.
Yeah.
And he says, but I'm gonna try. And she pretty much takes his stick from him and knocks him on the ground.
Yeah, and then also we get a quick scene of Hunter B-15 on the run as well, and they're trying to catch her, and she's basically trying to expose the truth to the other TVA agents, showing that Renslayer had a life before, and they see she was a principal or something at this school.
Right. The pin that you keep seeing.
Yes,
was
the
school
pen that we kept seeing was from the school that she was working at. So I was like, oh, I see what they're doing. Yeah. Then it goes back to the office of He Who Remains, and just this was like we were saying earlier. Like, there's a lot of dialogue episodes, but this one I didn't mind it because it was just so much. Like, I'm like, what are they gonna say next? Like, oh my gosh, they're revealing so much about this show of what actually has been going on, and like this is there's so much. It's crazy. Because most of this episode was just dialogue, actually.
It was just dialogue, but it was talk. He was breaking down so much about what was going on and what's about to happen.
Yeah, there was one fight scene in it, but it was kind of brief.
Yeah,
and it ended kind of awkwardly.
And it ended with a kiss.
That begs to ask a question that I will not pose here, but I will say that I did tweet about it.
Is it Game of Thrones or is it not?
That basically is not the question. It was gosh.
Well,
what was it? It was okay. I'm gonna ask it because you've now opened the door. I said,
I'm busting through the doors
with Loki kissing Sylvie. It's essentially two Lokis making out with each other. Is that just a very dangerous form of masturbation, or is it just kind of incestuous?
That's what I was saying. Is it more incest because like Game of Thrones?
Basically. Not incest because they're not technically brother and sister.
Yeah.
But I mean, the thing is
it more of a self? Is it a self-pleasuring?
It's like you kissed yourself in the mirror.
I mean, no, that's completely different.
No,
when I was 13, I kissed the mirror. I was like, this is weird.
This is actually you're physically touching someone else. I feel like it's a little different than kissing a mirror. It's very like, and that's why a lot of people have compared it to Homelander in season 2 of The Boys, when that shapeshifter guy turns into himself and looks like he's almost going to make out with himself. So that's why I made the joke earlier of him being Homelander. I've heard some people saying that.
I got you now. No. I got you now. He was totally rocking that lingerie as Homelander, though. You gotta give him that. You gotta give him that. Those fishnets were on point.
Taz, all the reviews recaps that we've done are still on my channel, so you're more than welcome to go back and check those out. Please do, because they were fun. All of these have been fun.
Those ones were more well thought out than this one so far, I feel like.
Yeah.
At least on my end. Because I actually had notes to
it's
go
all
off.
of us.
Now I'm trying to go through
you
memory.
took notes. What happened to your notes?
I was the note guy. And I failed us.
It's not like I started taking notes. I'm just as guilty. I didn't start taking notes.
Yeah.
And if I had started taking notes, trust me, one of the little ankle biters would have gotten a hold of him, and then I would never see him again.
I reverted back to my high school days of not wanting to take notes anymore.
I saw episode 2 of them doing homework. I vowed, nope, not me. I'm not the one. I'll let Captain do it.
And I didn't.
And now it's the final test. I'm like, where are your notes? He's like, I didn't take any.
The test is this week? Wait a second.
We're all panicking. Like, if you didn't take the notes, who did?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Evan at New Rockstars is like,
yep,
I got all the notes.
If you guys want all every Easter egg, just go to New Rockstars.
Go to there.
I think we had a debate about who were some of the better, on one of my streams.
Yeah.
We had a debate who were some of the better.
I like
ones to go to. Or maybe in Super Stream now that I think about it.
New
Maybe Lefties. Maybe not even been Lefties now that I think about it.
I like Screen Crush too. He does a good job.
The Nerdist sometimes does okay. I'm not a fan of Dan Murrell's breakdowns, and that's not me saying I don't like him, because I really respect him. His knowledge for films is really high, and I respect him whenever he's talking about film stuff, and whenever he's talking about things from that nature. But even though he's a fan of comics, he doesn't have that breakdown like those other channels do. So when it comes to TV shows, not necessarily Dan Murrell is where I go, but when it comes to movies, there's hardly anybody else that I respect more as far as movie reviews go. And he actually recently moved to my state, so he literally lives 30 miles away. So I'm just
nice.
Trying not to be stalking him down or anything like that. It's no, he does not want that kind of. But
he is a regular human and doesn't want to be interrupted all the time.
That is exactly right. But trust me, I have thought about going to movie theaters 30 minutes away and thinking maybe
I'll run into him.
Maybe.
I think
if I do, just Just be cool.
Yeah, that'd be me if I found out that like some hot celebrity lived near me. I'm like, oh, wonder if son's like, or I think I saw something like Megan Fox was at Disneyland. I was like, oh, I should go to Disneyland, but I live close to Disneyland.
All right, so where are we at in episode 6? Because have we got to the full conversation that he's showing them, like when he met all his other variants? And
we didn't really talk about that, but yeah, before the fight, he talks about how he had found another reality and found the version of himself, and they got together and they shared information, and they were, trying to make their worlds better by adding, technology and things of that nature and knowledge. But there were some versions of himself that wanted to do more than just share and grow, and they wanted to take over. And so there was kind of like this war, and he had to set up a reality where those versions were not present, or situations where they would not become present, and therefore maintain peace amongst the sacred timeline. That was his explanation, if I recall correctly. And this is where it gets down to the point to where Loki and Sylvie reach a fork in the road. And Sylvie is like, I don't trust him.
I don't believe him. I don't trust you.
And Loki's like, he could be telling the truth. I mean, look at everything that we've seen. Nothing that we've seen contradicts what he's saying. And that's when they get into a fight. This is the last fight of the series, which ends in a very gray ethical area. But essentially it comes down to Sylvie doesn't trust anyone.
Nope.
And Loki can't be trusted. And since that is the point that they get to, also known as an impasse, Loki gets like Sylvie uses He Who Remains little, Palm Pilot. That's a good way to describe it.
The Palm Pilot? Is that what we're calling it? The Palm Pilot?
and yeets
such backwards
Loki back.
technology. Why would we do that?
Well, it's on his hand. Look, like
But a Palm Pilot, like of all the things you could have referenced it to be, a Palm Pilot.
Well, I mean, do you have a better name for it?
Maybe a trio.
Time plus
a little
advanced.
step up.
The time pad advanced. The time pad plus.
It's I mean, it's close to his palm. I was trying to think what I would. Like it was strapped to his hand. So I don't know. But
his hand. Never mind.
What?
Keep going.
That's right. The kids are listening.
Kids are watching.
So yeah, she uses He Who Remains hand control, and yeets Loki back to the TVA, which leaves only Sylvie and He Who Remains in that room. And this is past the point where his so-called script
his knowledge
goes,
of,
and he has
what was
no clue what's going to happen next. And so, since nobody's there to stop her, she takes a sword and runs him through. And he's not even like, nothing. He's just like sitting there. He's like, He looks at her. He's like, see you soon.
See you soon.
And that right there was like the, oh crap, I screwed up moment. That's what she realized. Yes, I know. I'm old. I'm close. I'm not going to say what I'm close.
You're not that old. I'm still the oldest one on this call.
You are the oldest one on the screen, but I will say that when I grew up, we had 4 channels, and if one was fuzzy, I'd have to go outside and turn a 30-foot antenna. Okay, I'm that old. I will say that.
I never had that problem.
I'm trying to think.
I think y'all two are the same age, though, Captain.
No,
Are we?
I'm
Roughly
about
the same age.
I'm about 5 years older than.
Are you
Bay.
5 years older than Captain Bay?
I think so.
So, are you closer to 40 or closer to 30?
Definitely closer to 40.
Okay,
Just
then you're a year older than me.
just a year.
No, I'm 30, so.
Oh, you're 30?
Either way.
You just turned 30.
Yeah, I just turned 30.
Okay,
And
if you just turned 30, then it's more than 5.
I just wasn't sure if it was like 31 or 32 or what.
Yeah, I'll turn 40 before the end of Biden's term if he lives. So.
Good Lord. Not if he lives.
That's a whole
Well,
other
I'm just saying
conversation.
that he's old. This
Dude,
man is old. Okay, I'm not saying anything bad about the country.
I'm not wishing him any bad will, but like
I'm not wishing him any
Right.
bad will.
gotta see the writing on the walls from time to time.
Yeah, this man is.
So-
he's not ancient, but he's up there.
So so we get to the point where Loki gets back. Sylvie has now destroyed or killed He Who Remains.
We just call him Kang
And-
now.
No, well, I can't call him Kang yet.
Well,
His mama
because
call him Kang.
he's not,
I call him
he's not,
Kang.
He's not.
Yes, he had a UHF dial on his TV. That's what that's what that is, Mike.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. So.
You don't know what that is?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Never had that.
Okay.
I don't think. I mean,
Oh boy.
what is that? Is that like when you had to go on the TV to turn the channel?
That's a
Look,
different thing. That's a different.
Because I know my grandma had a really old TV like that, where you actually had to go and like turn the knob on the channel on the TV to change the channel.
Yeah, I did that too. I was a remote control, but
we all were remote controls at one point. What's going on, man, Falcon? Age is just a number, but arthritis is undeniable. This is true. But yeah, so
yes. Hey, thank you. Will got the reference that I made. Will got the Coming to America reference that I made. As I said, Mama call him Kang. I'm gonna call him Kang. Yeah.
I'm gonna call him Kang.
Mama call him Clay. I'm gonna call him Clay.
Mama call him Clay. I'm gonna call him Clay. You ain't never know no Martin Luther the King.
So, anyways, once she kills him, we jump to the TVA and they see all the branches just going wild.
Start going wild.
And it's like, oh crap, this is the madness, the multiverse of madness they were talking about. This is leading straight into Doctor Strange. And then we get back at the TVA, we see Loki just there looking sad, like, oh, she kissed me, but
She kissed me.
I guess she doesn't want me. Every guy's
Yes,
been there,
Will.
right? We've all been there.
Yes, Will.
And then he
I'm sorry. Will's over here cracking me up.
Will's he's just all kind of coming to America references.
But I can't keep going because the kids are in the room.
Yes, no, we gotta stop, Will. We gotta stop. We gotta get through these episodes.
So Loki tries to find more Mobius and B-15 and tell them like, hey, this guy's coming. We gotta prepare for this. Like, this is not good. And that's when they're like, whoa, hold slow down.
Well, that's cool. Yeah.
Who are you? Like, what is going on?
Who are you?
And that's when he realized, like, oh, either she sent him to like an alternate TVA, or this new version of Kang has already shown up and taken over and has basically wiped everyone's memory, so they don't even know who he is. And the thing is crazy here that they don't even recognize him as a Loki.
As Loki.
Yeah, they're like,
that was
which
the thing.
department
They're
are
like,
you from?
what's
They
the
asked
name?
which
Yeah.
It was crazy.
And then he looks up and sees the big statue that has replaced the statues of the time variants, or the
Keepers.
Yes.
That's the word. And sees it's a statue of comic book accurate Kang with Jonathan Major's face on it.
Yep.
Which
And that
is
is how season 1 ends.
No mid credit. A brief mid credit just to say that there's a season 2 of Loki. Confirmed.
Exactly.
That was it.
That was pretty cool. So yeah,
So
that was the ending of the show. Like, pretty wild.
I definitely enjoyed Loki as a whole. I think that there are some moments that I felt like I enjoyed the series more than the other 2 series, but that's not to say that they're inherently better or it's inherently better than them. because there are moments that I watched, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. There are action sequences that I found much more enjoyable than any action sequence in Loki, as far as fight scenes go.
I think
There are.
I was gonna say Falcon and Winter Soldier definitely had the best action scenes.
Yeah, their action scenes were.
Which is, I mean, it's kind of expected. When you think about all the shows as a whole, you think of WandaVision, you don't really think like crazy fighting action scenes. Like, yes, you're going to think mystical kind of stuff, which could be pretty cool. Same thing with Loki. Like, you're not going to think, oh, Loki, he's known for being a really great fighter. It's like he is, but not like a Captain America, Falcon,
correct
Soldier. So it's like that show, you go into it expecting there to be that hand-to-hand fighting.
He was never really the hand-to-hand guy. He was the god of mischief. He used his tricks that
exactly.
Freya taught him, and kind of got over that way.
Yeah. So for me though, overall, like I don't know if you guys want to give your order of like what shows, like the top like 1, 2, 3. For me, I do put Loki at number 1. I tweeted this out the other day, actually. I said Loki was number 1. I have WandaVision at number 2, and then Falcon Winter Soldier was 3 for me. Mainly because for me, Falcon Winter Soldier, even though like we just said the action, the fight scenes are really good, it to me did feel like the most predictable, and basically like going into like, oh, this is probably what's going to happen, and as things occurred in the series, like, oh yeah, this is probably leading to John Walker finding the serum, and he's probably going to take the serum. Oh yeah, he did that. Okay.
It was pretty.
We know they're going to get the shield back because they showed footage of them using the shield beginning before the show even started. So they haven't got it until like the second to last episode. Like, of course he's going to have the shield. So it just felt to me like it was a little bit more predictable and didn't leave us guessing as much. And so when things happened, it wasn't like, I guess, as satisfying. It was still good, and I liked a lot of what they did with Falcon and Soldier, but to me it just fell short the most of like that wowness. And it did, outside of like, obviously now we have a new Captain America, and we have the Power Broker in play, and what was set up with John Walker and Valentina Del like whatever her name is.
Tessa Valentina Allegra de Fontaine.
Yes.
Or Val. But don't. What is it?
Yeah.
Does she say, "Don't call me Val"? Is that what she says? Or am I confusing her with? So. Am I confusing her with?
Or did she say like? I think she said you can.
Animaniacs.
I think she said you can just call me Val. I think that's what
okay.
She
maybe
said.
You're right.
Yeah. Yeah. Outside of those like 3 things, I feel like it didn't really progress the MCU moving forward very much. And whereas WandaVision and Loki to me have more so Loki has a bigger impact on what's to come, and they both did a better way of showing us like what, or not showing us, but like, how am I trying to word this? They did a better job of teasing what was coming without spoiling it, and then when the reveal happened, it was like, wow, like the Kang reveal. And that's where WandaVision to me dropped a little bit below, because the Mephisto thing, like they teased a bunch, like, oh, Mephisto, and then it wasn't that. But then also it was, oh, you have Evan Peters coming on the show as Quicksilver, and everyone knows that that's the character from the X-Men. They're clearly alluding to potentially having X-Men, and it's like, oh, owner joke.
Yeah.
Like that to me was a huge letdown. Like it didn't even have, like, they could have done anything else and it still would have been better. Like it's just it really really hurt. Because everyone wanted that so bad, obviously, to be like the X-Men being officially introduced, but it wasn't.
It wasn't.
And so I think they did a really good job of building up in WandaVision, and some of the stuff hit, like with Wanda becoming the full-on Scarlet Witch and everything. But other things just really kind of didn't hit the mark for me. Whereas for Loki, I feel like it just build, and then it was like, bam, at the end. It was like, whoa. This all just got blown up and is going, like, this is crazy, and it's leading into Spider-Man: How Far From Home or No Way Home, um, Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, and then obviously Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. So
Yes.
that's why, for me, that's my order. That all made sense. Let me know. If not, well,
Well, no, it makes sense. Like you asked this question, I wasn't expecting to answer it, but I do have an answer if I had to rank them. But I'd have to be honest and say that I'd have to give a prerequisite as far as answering. So there are two camps. There is how I felt as how I felt about the series as it pertains to the MCU, and then how I felt about the series as it hit me on an emotional level. And those are two completely different lists. As far as an
Yes.
MCU list, Loki number one, WandaVision number two, Falcon and the Winter Soldier number three. Just as it pertains to the MCU, because Loki definitely moves things forward as far as what's coming for the movies and the TV shows. With the whole multiverse of madness happening at the end of Loki season one, you've got this potentially opening the door to the What If series coming out, I believe, next month. You've
and they
also
actually
got,
came out and announced that that is going to be canon. Actually,
yeah. So you have that. You also have Kang being introduced. You know that he's going to be in um, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. I think that he will be the next big bad for the next Avengers movie, which I think is going to introduce the Young Avengers. But that's just me posturing. And then with Scarlet or with WandaVision, you've got the progression of characters that we really haven't seen much of. Even though Scarlet Witch and Vision were both introduced in um, Avengers Age of Ultron, they are the least uh, broken down characters. Like, we don't know very much about either of them as much as we do about other Avengers. And so this definitely built more into the lore of them, and then we got to see the progression of Wanda actually becoming um, the Scarlet Witch.
Right. She wasn't necessarily referred to as the Scarlet Witch
yeah,
until
and we found
Okay,
out a
yeah,
that
lot
point.
more that she had the powers before, just the time the stone. Yeah, the time stone, right? That's it was the time stone. When she interacted with it, really just
it
awoke
was
her.
not the Time Stone;
No,
it was the
the Mind
Mind
Stone.
Stone.
Mind
Yeah, it
stone.
was the
You're right.
Mind
You're right.
Stone.
Sorry. So yeah, that was just a big reveal. Like, oh, she already had her powers. Also, maybe another hint toward her possibly being a mutant, like she is in the comics.
And of course, it also introduced Billy and Tommy, who are also
Yep.
members of the Young
Yep.
Avengers. Whereas Falcon and the Winter Soldier, they do introduce John Walker as first Captain America, then U.S. agent. It also, because of delays, introduced Contessa uh, Valencia, whatever, blah, 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 blah.
Valentini.
Val.
You're
It's
bragging
Val.
about it earlier.
I was, and then I lost it. Um, but it introduces her. We get a return of Zemo. We get a return of
Zemo too.
the Dora Milaje. We get a return of Agent 13. But the only real advancement that we really see is the changing of the guard from Sam Wilson going from the Falcon to Captain
To
America.
Captain America. Right.
Nick
Now,
also bringing up that Isaiah's grandson could also be part of the Young Avengers.
Yep. Isaiah Bradley's grandson was
yes,
I forgot who he
He
was.
says
Patriot.
Patriot,
Yep.
yeah.
So, as far as pertaining to the MCU, it would be Loki, WandaVision, and Falcon and the Winter Soldier. However, if I go to how each series made me feel, it's a different order. It would actually be Falcon and the Winter Soldier, WandaVision, and then Loki. And that's not saying anything negative about Loki, but there were things that I pulled from those other two series that hit me a little closer to home.
Mm-hmm.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier being at the top because they it was said in the chat earlier that people didn't like it because it felt too political. The thing about it is it wasn't political to me. That's just everyday life. That's
Right.
something that I completely relate to. That's something, and I may not experience it completely in my face, but that's something that um, there are things that happen in that show that I like had to grow up learning. It's like, hey, if you're going to be in public, don't cause attention to yourself. you know, it, you know, there are aspects that speak to racial inequalities in that show when they're talking, even when it's talking about like his sister trying to get a loan, when it's talking about Isaiah when he had the super soldier serum and how they treated him in um, contrast to how they treated other super soldiers. There were a lot of things that just being a black person in America, I felt that. Mm-hmm. And that's not me saying that I have experienced it, but it wasn't alien to me. It wasn't political to me. That's just life. And so that hit me there. As far as WandaVision hitting me on an emotional level, it actually had to do with the period pieces on the television series. So like the first one was obviously something along the lines of the Dick Van Dyke Show, and then the second episode was along the lines of Bewitched and the Brady Bunch and so on and so forth. When I think of those older shows, it actually reminds me of my grandma. When I was at home, we had channels, four, we had 3, 6, 9, which was AETN, and then 12. So we had four channels. That's it. My grandma had cable. So when I go to grandma's house,
you get to watch all the other stuff.
I'd get to watch all the other stuff. Now, I'd watch a lot of Nickelodeon, but I'd watch it late at night. And what would come on late at night on Nickelodeon? Nick at Night. And back then, in the early 90s, Nick at Night was I Love Lucy, Dick Van Dyke Show, Bewitched, I Dream of Jeannie. And so all of those shows that they were referencing on WandaVision were shows that made me feel cozy at home, that they reminded me.
Just brought back memories that maybe I hadn't thought of in a while and stuff like that.
Exactly. So from an emotional level, WandaVision is at the second. And like I said, even though that does not take anything away from Loki, I think that Loki stands out as something that takes the MCU to the next level. And so that's why I rate it number 1 on this level, but not as high on the other one. So that's my list. I gave you 2 lists and why.
There you go.
Yeah, that's
and I would 100% agree with Cameron on all that. I won't reiterate anything he just said.
Yeah,
I just agree with all that, just for the fact of the list for the MCU versus the list of how I feel. That's how I felt. So when I seen your list at first, Captain, I was kind of like, I don't feel that way. But then I had to stop and think about like what makes sense for the MCU.
Yeah, I get. Yeah,
when what makes sense for me.
Yeah, for my list, I was literally strictly thinking, of course, what was progressing MCU. Obviously, everything you just said, yeah, it makes total sense coming from that perspective as well. So
yeah. I am now tangled up.
Can't knock you there at all.
So that is some Disney Plus type stuff that we've talked about. But now I think it's time to get on to.
We got 15 minutes to talk about.
15 minutes?
15 minutes? How long have we been talking about Loki?
15. You got 2.5 hours for Loki. You got 15 minutes.
Well,
shoot. Give us a quick recap on your thoughts of Black Widow, and go, Cameron. That's all you got. You get 5. You get 5 minutes. Cap gets 5 minutes, and then we get 5 minutes to go because I have got text messages of when are you going to be done? So
okay, all right. So let me start off by saying this. I am right off the bat annoyed with Black Widow the movie because, and this is something that a lot of big movie studios do, they treat female-led superhero movies as an afterthought and put them in period pieces. You've heard me already gripe about this, where you don't have to worry about, is the hero going to make it out? Because, and this happens with a lot of big ones. Black Widow, this happened because this was taking place 5 years in the past. This happened with Wonder Woman as it took place in World War I. This happened with Wonder Woman 84 as it took place. It happened with, sorry, I'm having a brain fart. Captain Marvel, because it was set place in the mid-90s. Like, give us a current day, female-led superhero movie.
I never really noticed that.
They're
all
big,
period pieces.
And the only big one that happened in current day, like present time, was Birds of Prey and the fantabulous emancipation of one Harley Quinn. That's the only one that has happened in recent memory where it was current day. And I didn't particularly like it, but at least they gave us a little bit of respect to say, hey, this isn't going to be like a Harley Quinn origin story. This is going to be something that's happening right now. So I can at least appreciate them for giving the women not only something meaningful to do, but not saying, "Oh, this happened back in the past, so it doesn't matter to the current day timeline." So first off the bat, annoyed that they did that. She deserved a movie at least 8 years ago.
Yeah, it should have been this movie should have been released right after Civil War. It'd be a whole different conversation if it had been. Because the whole movie, the whole time, we know what happens to her, what happens between the end of this movie and where her story ends. So
I agree. I've got a few more minutes.
Yeah,
Scarlett Johansson does a great job as always as Natasha Romanoff. Florence Pugh as Yelena Belova is a standout performance. I enjoyed her more than I thought that I would. And in the same instance, I'm actually kind of disappointed with the other two main characters. Red Guardian, played by, what's his name? Somebody help me out here.
Stranger Things.
Yeah, I know.
I can't remember his name.
It was just on Hot Ones. How do I forget this? Rachel Weisz was the other one. I felt like they weren't given anywhere near as much to do, and so even if they would have knocked it out of the park, which I believe that Red Guardian did, he did the best with what he was given to do. He just wasn't given enough.
Yeah,
there's only one fight that he has with Taskmaster, so I just do not. I can't say that I like the movie because I didn't like the direction that it goes into. As far as the plot is concerned, at least it's not the world's about to end, so we have to do something. It's not a sky beam, so to speak. But it does take into effect that the stakes are actually lower. And the reason why they're lower is because at least with the other movies, there's some sort of immediate threat that's upon either the hero or a populace. And in this case, it's just Black Widow breaking up a spy ring. That's essentially what it is. And so there was no immediate threat. There was nothing that said, "Oh, we have to do this now," or there will be mass chaos. That's not the case. And last, but certainly not least, is my biggest gripe of the entire movie: the fact that Taskmaster was completely botched. From start to finish. I understand that they wanted to give Taskmaster a relatable, point of contact with Black Widow, but they went about it the exact wrong way. They essentially did what Honest Trailers did, and they X-Men Origin Wolverine Taskmaster.
That's not a comparison you want.
But that's exactly what they did.
It is. It's a very good comparison.
They took a character that we love to see them, to see the banter with other characters, completely muted them from the entire movie. It was completely a different character from anything that we've seen in comics, except for the name. This Taskmaster was the worst villain the MCU has produced. Step aside, Malekith. You have now been elevated to next to last. And that's my time.
Thank you for your consideration.
I needed to get that out really fast.
How do you
next?
Oh man. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much in the same boat as everything you just said. I was really excited to go into it, but like you said, it's hard to get excited about a movie when you already know the outcome. It's basically just like, what are they going to show us that's going to be fill in the gaps, that's going to be adding anything to what we already know. And I think that's what this movie tried to do, in that it gave us a little bit about Budapest. We were kind of talking about this off camera beforehand, that we got a little bit of a look into what happened in Budapest, or Budapest, however you actually say it, whatever. So we see that. We don't actually see a Clint Barton cameo, which I think would have been way better.
I thought would have been perfect.
Would have been perfect. Would have made a lot of sense for them to do because they've alluded to Budapest so many times. So why not have him in the flashback scene? Maybe it was because of COVID. I don't know. But yeah, I think that would have been a good cameo to have. Like you said, Yelena Belova, her character, I think was by far the standout character in the movie. I loved her. I follow her on Instagram now. I love her personally as well. That happened like minutes after the movie. So I think they did a really good job of setting up her character to move forward in the MCU, especially with like the end credits. So basically alluding that she's already part of this team, whatever it is that Val has been creating, which most likely is going to be the Thunderbolts or a Dark Avengers, which I believe Kevin Feige actually confirmed himself that she's been behind the scenes creating a team. So that's pretty cool. And the part that I think that was it was really funny, like, Marvel, they're always going to add in their comedic lines. And this one of the things it did have some good comedic parts, and that was between her character and Natasha, of her calling her a poser, and the
she called her a poser doing the hair
every time they kept mentioning that, and then she did it at the end, and she was like, oh, like, no, that didn't feel good. Like, I loved all of that. Like, that was really, really funny. Probably unnecessary, but it was good. It's Marvel. They gotta have their funny stuff in there. Yeah, the Taskmaster was it was a big letdown. There's a lot of problems too with the actual big bad, how he has the whole like the scent, like, that prevents them from being able to harm him. It felt very lame to me. I was like, I didn't like that. And I watched some video breaking it down, or someone talking about it, how like, well, she should have been able to be immune to it, or there was something, I can't remember exactly what it was.
It's like she could have shot him from the other side of the room.
Yeah, it's like, oh, is it, how close do they have to be? Like, if she had just been far away, and she knew going into that situation that would happen because her mom, or whatever, told her about it. So like,
door opens, pow! You don't get a chance for the pheromones to.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a lot of stuff with that I didn't really like. And then the whole thing too, where she kind of points out, like, so no one in the government, no one knows who you are and what you're doing. So what's the point of what you're doing if, like, you're like not on anyone's radar of that you're doing anything? Like, what is the whole purpose of this organization you've built? Trying to think what else. What am I missing? Red Guardian. Yeah, kind of the same thing like you were saying. I think they could have added more. I did kind of like the funny callbacks to him saying he had a fight with Captain America.
Yes.
And it's like, wait, did he really? But no, because Captain America was on ice.
But in his mind, he had this.
Was there some kind of variant version that he faced? Was it like an
the one who went back?
Did he face like an Isaiah Bradley Captain America?
Isaiah Bradley was in jail during the time.
So it's like there's lots of possibilities, or somebody throughout, like, maybe when Cap returned the Infinity Stones, he did something and got stuck in Russia and had to fight him or whatever. I don't know. Or is he just delusional and he was in prison for so long that he created his own story?
Red Guardian's a liar.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or Red Guardian's just a liar.
Like, all of these, like, it could have been, or it could have been, or it could have been, or he could just be.
Or he's just a liar.
That was the initial, like, once they say that, they're like, wasn't he on ice then? But then when he brings it up again to Natasha, that's when it's like, oh, wait, no, he actually thinks he fought him. So, did he? Or is he just been in jail and locked up for so long, he's created this
lie in his head,
like, fake fight scene that, So, but yeah, overall,
if you
it was
tell
like
a lie long enough, you start to believe it yourself.
Exactly.
There you go. All right, so there it is. I will tell you that I think I told you guys earlier before we started, if you went in with mediocre expectations, then you more so enjoyed the movie. I understand where Cameron's coming from it, from a perspective of, Why did we have to go back? Versus why couldn't she had that movie? What was it? 6 years ago, after Civil War. Why didn't we have that movie then to kind of give that explanation? But there, yeah. So there, I mean, that's pretty much where it's at. What makes me even more mad is the fact that I'm at 9,996 star charts.
Oh, I hate that.
So I can't open up a 6-star tonight, but we will. I'll have a crystal.
Did you finish all the side quests?
I got 5 left.
Okay.
I could do another. I
There
got
you
more
go.
I can get.
Get a
I'm
six.
almost through all the
Please.
what you call it, the Sentinel of Liberty or whatever that is.
Oh yeah.
So the roster rules there. But I want to take my time to say thank you to Cameron for CBM Reviews. If you aren't subscribed to his channel, in the description below, the link to his channel is there. As well as always, big thanks to my boy Captain Bay, who does Disney Plus review weekly shows, which brings me to the next show that's coming up, the What If series. It starts August 11th. So if you are looking forward to the next Disney Plus series show, August 11th should be the next thing that kicks off there. We may have to try to figure out a way to come back and talk about the Black Widow movie more. I might want to watch it again just because it wasn't bad. It wasn't great. It wasn't bad. It wasn't MCU great. So I think that's where I think it kind of fell a little bit below the expectations for a lot of people.
It was still fun to look at Scarlett Johansson and the new Pugh's her name or something like that.
Florence.
They were Florence Pugh. Yeah, they were enjoyable to watch for
Yeah,
2 hours or so.
they had a really good chemistry as far as like sisterhood
Yes,
and things
yes.
like
They
that.
did.
So
That's definitely what I was implying. Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure that's exactly what you were implying, Captain Bay. Exactly what you were implying. Talking about their sisterhood.
Yes.
But
yes.
thank you everybody who came by and watched the stream. For those of you watching this 2 hour and 46 minute on replay, God bless your soul.
There's a special
We
place in
appreciate
heaven
that.
for you people.
Special place for heaven for people like you guys. We do appreciate that. We will be back for the What If series.
Yes.
That's the one that I'm looking forward to the most.
I am looking forward to that a lot.
Yeah.
Because
Especially now after Loki, like seeing it explode like that.
It was number 1 on my list even before we had gotten to Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I was like, this looks good. Loki looks good. But what if?
Yep. What if was on a lot of people's radar. Got on my radar probably about 3 months ago. I was like, oh, I can't wait for this to come out. And it is the last performance for our Chadwick Boseman in the MCU.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to catching that. Even though it was just voice acting, still nonetheless Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah,
Voice acting is acting.
Voice acting is definitely still acting.
That is his final portrayal, and it will be a special moment to see him not only portraying T'Challa, but according to what we've seen, he will not just be T'Challa on Earth, but he will be T'Challa in the cosmos.
Yep, there you go. Real quick, Cameron, anything you're working on coming up here soon? The He-Man Masters of the Universe, or you can be doing reviews on that, or anything else that's dropping before What If that you're going to be doing?
I may do a quick. Okay, so I'm so behind on a lot of reviews that I may do a big giant review video where I talk about all the things that I have not talked about, which would include shows like MODOK and Invincible and Sweet Tooth and Master of the Universe. And I haven't done a review for Black Widow yet, even though we literally talked about it and I've obviously seen it. But my next video that's going to be a solo review that I have planned is going to be the very soon upcoming part 2 of Batman The Long Halloween. I'm actually really interested in how that goes, and then I'm also going to try and watch all of the other things that are coming out, like Suicide Squad, which is coming out in I believe about 2 weeks, as well as of course What If. There's another TV series that's going to be coming out called Why the Last Man, that's based on a comic book, as well as your other MCU things coming out like Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten
Eternals.
Rings, the Eternals, and
Yep.
the one that I'm looking forward to more than anything else this year, Spider-Man: No Way Home.
No Way Home.
Oh,
Please,
that
Marvel,
can't
can we get a
go
trailer
through.
for that? Get some trailers for that, please.
Oh my gosh, yes. But at the same time, like I don't want a trailer that spoils too much.
Right.
Like I'm nervous now.
Look,
I'm a little nervous.
all I need from a trailer, all I need, like have the static shots. He's standing with his buddies. He's standing with Ned, and he's standing with MJ, and quick shot of Aunt May. Whatever, over some narration, dialogue, suspenseful music, and at the end of the trailer, we just see Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. I don't have to see anybody else. Just end with those two, and you've sold 1 million tickets.
I don't even want that. I would like a cut to black, and we get a Willem Dafoe Green Goblin laugh.
Or
Like,
you
that
don't even
would
have
be
to make a
epic.
laugh. A laugh would be great.
Yeah.
One of the quotes from the first movie would be even better. Like it fades to black, and then all of a sudden you hear, "Out am I?"
Yes.
And that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire, that'd be great too. Any of them, there's all the theories and rumors out there about what's gonna happen in the show. I just want to know already. There's so much. I want to know what's true and what's not. I can't handle this pressure. It's so much.
Bay, what do you have going on this week for yourself and your
For
streams?
me, I posted a video the other day doing a crystal opening. That went up yesterday.
Got that
So if
one.
you haven't seen that, go check that out. I opened some fun stuff. Got some crazy stupid luck on one of the crystals on there. The platinum pool crystals. Couldn't believe that. But other than that, I think I'm going to do a account overview video. I haven't done one of those in a while. I mentioned that in the video. It's been a while since I've kind of shown off the account, so nothing too exciting, but figured some people might be interested in that. As well as we've got about a week before the next Alliance War starts, so I think that gives me about a week to knock out some more endgame content, so maybe look forward to some Act 7 streams here in the next week or so. Because I've put that off for a very long time. And I should
Same here.
probably start doing it. Because there's
Same
some
here.
nice rewards there that I would like. I just don't really have units, but I do have over 2 million battle chips right now. And
Okay.
I've seen some people opening up the Cavalier battle chip crystals. And I haven't opened up any of those before. And they seem to give you
The Cavalier or the Thronebreakers?
the Thronebreaker ones, sorry.
Yeah.
And those give you some good units from what I've seen. So if I can get lucky there, that might encourage me to do a little bit more Act 7. So
Good
I think
deal.
I'm going to open that up tomorrow and maybe fire up a stream tomorrow. Tuesdays usually are a pretty good day to stream. So
Pretty good day to stream.
just because
So-
there's never an Alliance War, there's never really... Alliance Quest is at the end of the run so far, so it should be pretty good.
Yeah, it should be good to go.
Yeah.
I think I will be also jumping into my initial clear, as I have up here on the screen, of Act 7.
Nice.
I've put that off for months now.
That's
Not necessarily because I didn't
7.1?
want 7.2.
Okay. Yeah, I've only done an
7.1.2.
initial clear. I didn't do my initial clear of 7.2 until 2 weeks ago, I think. So I'm not far ahead. I've only done an initial clear of 7.1.
And I still haven't. I still also have 6.3 and 6.4 to do, 100%. So
Okay.
got time to get back into that grind. I think I'll jump
Yeah.
back in that for the rest of the month, since we have a few
Same.
weeks left to go in the month. But yeah, it should be a good time. All right, guys. Well, thank you very much for hanging out. We appreciate it.
hosting.
I would say, Bay.
Thank you for hosting. It was fun.
Yes,
Yeah.
no problem. No problem. Always a good time. Can't wait to do it for the next time, and we will catch up with you guys on the next stream. Until next time, it's your boy Ghost Dog, Cameron